Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are doing it big today per 2 requests for me to fly the 747-1 and for me to fly to Puerto Rico 2. So that's what we're doing here today. We are flying for UPS. We are here in Miami International, and we're gonna have a good one. Let me go ahead and log on to VATSIM, which I most certainly forgot to do. We are UPS 318 heavy today, and I also need to get that flight plan in there. So thought I had done this, but apparently I have not. Let's see, 747-800. It doesn't really have one. Let me see. Let me see what the actual IKO is of this one anyway. Anyway, guys, as I'm fumbling around here, again, welcome to the stream. Always, thanks for the support. Smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't, and share the channel out. And it's B48F is where I was going wrong. So B48F. And it doesn't have a code for that, so we're just going to do B748 and go that way. Because it is a 747-800, it's just a freight model. So we're okay there. Doesn't look to be any air traffic control on. So we may be passing through some centers here. You can see we've got somebody else right here that's flying South Africa in his 747. It just showed up in the next cargo spot. So we're also going to get our flight plan filed. It's a pretty simple one. Flying time today is 2 hours and 6 minutes on this hop. So I'll check you guys out here in the chat in a second. I'm just trying to file my flight plan. All right. Let's see. Miami, TJSJ, TIST is the alternate. Departure time. That's a good question. Departure time, Zulu time now is 21:10, so departure time will be 21:45. So it'll probably take us that long to get it up and running and at least taxi to the runway. And we said flying time was 2 hours and 6 minutes. Our cruising altitude today will be a nice robust flight level 370 at 37,000 feet, folks. And let me see how much fuel I have on board. And I thought I had did this already, but I didn't. Fuel on board, we're going to be loading up at least 73,758 pounds of fuel, and we've got 233,000 pounds of cargo on board. And fuel on board today is going to give us 3.5 hours of fuel, basically, so 3 hours and roughly 15 minutes. So we'll put that in there. All right. So about 3 hours and 15 minutes is what we're going to do for fuel. And yeah, I think we're good on the flight plan there. So we'll go ahead and file that flight plan. Flight plan is submitted, and like I said, we don't have any ATC. So flight plan is submitted on VATSIM. We are ready to go. We're doing us a nice solo mission today. Lately I've been flying with green light, but today we're taking her on down, all the way down to Puerto Rico. All right, and you can see we got us some nice little jams going on. The reggaeton here, which is very fitting for heading down to Puerto Rico. All right, guys. So without further ado, now that we're done doing that, let's go ahead and jump on board this cold and dark aircraft. And like I said, we can see this South African 747 next to us. So hopefully that gives us enough clearance. Let's go ahead and look outside and make sure our wings aren't touching, which they kind of are, but that's okay. And that's why you want to put an X-plane. You want to put realism on, but not to collide with ground objects, obviously. So, and that's the reason why he loaded up. And you can see our wings are sort of crisscrossing there. So that's all right though. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and power up the aircraft. So the first thing we have to do, obviously, is come to our wonderful tablet here, and we're going to go over here to go to ground services and do a few things. We're going to connect the GPU, and we're also going to open up the main cargo doors just so we can get this bad boy loaded. So we'll have to remember to take that out. So we can go up top now and start the aligning while we load the aircraft. So let's go ahead and get this battery on. And let's tie the buses, of course. Let's get our standby power to auto. And now we can definitely get that available power on. And we also want to get our nav lights on. And we'll just do logo lights just because we can. And we'll deal with the rest of the up top situation here as we continue to push on. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get our navs or our IRS to the nav position, which we are there. And now we can go ahead and get the plane located appropriately at the gate. So we are in Miami International's, one of Miami International's cargo ramps. I'll give you guys a clue of where we're at here in a second. And this is the last position, but we're going to go with the current GPS position, which is right there. So there we go. So we have that system aligning. Now, because I want to do this right and show you guys how to... So on this aircraft, you have to do weights and balances and stuff. And there's a few different ways to do this. Let's talk about the payload first. So as you can see right now, this is the actual load, which is 0. So we haven't put anything on here. And this is what's in there now. So if you go to 80%, you got to find a little click mark and wait for the hand to turn. So if you go to 80% full, oh, this is kilograms. Let me go back to options and let's change it to pounds. Even though on your flight plan, you can still do it to pounds. So that was in kilograms. Now it's pounds. So you see we have 233.9 thousand pounds. So 233,900 pounds for the cargo, but we haven't loaded it yet. What we want to do is just double check all these numbers and bounce it off our flight plan. So before I start plugging stuff in, I'll just go ahead and show you a few different things here. And then we'll get going, just because I want folks to really know how to load this aircraft. And it's not so difficult at all. Okay, so we have our overall flight plan. It gives us a synopsis or the summary up at the top. For UPS 318, this is the actual correct AKO, B48 Foxtrot, Miami to Puerto Rico, and it's the Luis Muñoz Marin International Airport. And then this is our alternate, and of course you can see our flight level 370, 2 hours and 6 minutes of flying time. And here's the block fuel that we need, 73,758 pounds. I put 2,000 pounds of extra fuel in there, and it's got the 0 fuel weight. Here's our route here. Now, one of the important things to pay attention to is also this screen here. Flying, we want to know what to expect. You can see we'll be passing right over the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, and then moving on down past the, moving off to the, basically we'll be flying on a southeastern departure, and we'll just be just to the east of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and then down on into Puerto Rico. One thing that we want to really kind of get a good idea of here is the winds aloft. So what you can do is just do this, make sure you get in there and click this buttons here, and now we're going to see that those winds are all over the place here. So as you can see, as we leave Miami, we're going to have definitely winds pushing us to the northeast. You can see it's going to be pushing aircraft, and then as you get more into the Caribbean here, it starts to kind of go more east facing from that jet stream. So of course the jet stream should be giving us a little bit more speed here, even though it's going to be off of our right wing, kind of trying to push us to the east. So no worries there, guys. As far as significant weather, this is what we got for the weather here. So as we leave Miami, you can see we're going to be passing through quite a bit of nasty weather. You know, let's see, this is our top of climb, so it'll be between waypoint, as we get to waypoint BTAC right here, we should already be at altitude 370, and we're on the airway cloud of 1, so that's still on the departure. And you can see here there is a little bit of weather that we're going to encounter there. These orange areas are really the nasty weather, so hopefully we don't get anything horrible there, but we are flying right through that. Then some lighter, easier clouds, and then the rest of the way looks pretty good with very minimal cloud coverage into the San Juan area, guys. Let's keep going on the flight plan, and I'll check you guys out. Here you can see, here's the rest of the flight plan, of course. And this now is starting to give our fuels that we did. It's going to approximately take 36 pounds of fuel to get there, with a flying time of 2 hours and 6 minutes. For our contingency fuel, we have 5,445 pounds. Our alternate is 7,526, which that's the amount of fuel we should burn if we have to fly to the alternate for whatever reason, giving us a final reserve 10,751. So if you really want to look at what your true reserves are, our reserves plus alternate is 18,277. So I'll probably put a nice little 17 in there just to lowball it. And trip plus taxi is going to take 48,036 pounds of fuel. So you can see we still got well enough fuel in there. We probably will get some, as this aircraft takes off, one of the things it does, it kind of will miscalculate the fuel until you get in the cruise. So we may get some low fuel warnings, but that's no worries. It's got us departing off of runway 27, and here's that information. And now I want to get down to the more important part. You want to make sure that your information here is going to reflect what you're going to put on the actual into the payload and the fuel here. So as you're doing this in your flight plan, you want to make sure you go to the packs. I've got 8 packs total, so that's only 8 passengers on this aircraft. That's 2, the captain and the first officer. Not to mention you have 6 other load engineers and flight crew that are going on board, so that's where the 8 comes in. Cargo is our primary business here, so we're doing 233,900 pounds of cargo, giving us a full payload, which includes the packs, is 235,700 pounds, 0 fuel weight 670.3 with the takeoff weight. Fuel is 73.8, so total takeoff weight is 700,042 pounds. And there you go. So that's kind of the most important things that you need to check when it comes to the flight plan. So let's get that in there. Then we'll also check our taxi routes, because we are in a Boeing 747. We have to be very aware of what our taxi routes are going to be for us, because this aircraft is rather large. So with that being said, I'm pulling up my flight plan on this other screen so we can start loading it in, of course, now that we've kind of covered some of the more pertinent information. So let's get right into it. So as we said, we're doing 73.8 fuel. We got 233.9 pounds of cargo, so let's go ahead and load those settings. Okay, so that's being loaded. We can also come over to the fueling now, and we know we need at least 73.8. We're rounding up, because really it's 73,758, but we're rounding up. All right. So there is the 73, and we're going to go 0.8. So you just come here to the tens and the decimal. 73.8 thousand pounds in here. So now this is what is actually going to be in here, but this is what our prediction is. So we have to start fueling now. And as you can see, you could also hit this set predicted, and it will kind of give you a predicted fuel, but I like to be more precise. So you can see those tanks being loaded here on this monster. All right. Let's go back and check the payload. You can see the payload is all actual loaded up now, which is in the green, and you can see it's continuing to load up that fuel. Let's go down to the radio panel and get the radio panel turned on. There, now we are able to transmit and receive. All right, guys, not doing too bad at all. So now we are most certainly going to put our general beacon code, since we don't have ATC, of 2200. And so we'll accept that. We're also going to get the seat belts to auto, so we don't forget that as well. Let's go ahead and look at our FMC. Let's see if we are aligned yet. And perfect timing. We are aligned at this point. So now what I'm going to do is just double check the winds out of Miami, and we will get on and rolling. Because there is no air traffic control giving us all of our rules right now, it'll be a little bit easier to get out of here, guys. But we're still going to try to follow the rules appropriately. All right, weather in Miami. The winds, okay, so we're going to do runway 8. The winds are basically out of the east at 60 degrees at 8 knots, 2982 on the altimeter. So let's go ahead and get our 2982 in there while we're looking at it. All right, 2982 is in there. Let's double check the first officer side and make sure their side, or your side if I will, is in there. And this is the cool thing about this aircraft, it actually does it on both sides, which I agree to that. You know, even though there are some things that are better that have separation like the FMSs, but as you're flying single pilot operations and definitely a 2 minimum pilot operated aircraft, it's good that some things are mirrored on the other side, so you don't really have to go worry about it, because the first officer or yourself would actually really do that. So all right, so we know we're leaving from runway 8, so now we can go ahead and load up the flight plan. And then we'll check departures and all that good stuff and runway taxi. We're going to jump over here to the route and get the rest of the stuff going here. All right, TJSJ. And we are UPS Heavy 318. And let's go ahead, activate that and execute that. Departure and arrival. We are going to select, is it runway 8 or 9? Let me double check that out. I'm sorry, it's runway 9. It's runway 9, so good thing we definitely checked that out. And it's on this Clada 1. And here's our transitions VTAC. I'm gonna execute that. Head right over here to the route. Okay, and that's in there now. So let's finish up our flight plan. Yankee 290, and if you guys are in the comments, I'll check you guys out here in a second. I just want to get this done, so we got plenty of time to chit chat. We're going to do that. Okay, Yankee 290 to Bino.
Miami traffic, American 2706 on final runway 09, Miami traffic.
All right, we got somebody coming in. So Bino is what we're doing. And then, of course, we're going to go right into the arrival, which is the Bino 3. And we are planning in Puerto Rico. It's going to be, is it ILS 8 or is it ILS 10? I got to look for the longer runway. So, stand by, soldiers, for confirmation. That's right, when you fall down, you get right back up. All right. So, the longest runway is definitely runway 8. So, we're going to be planning on ILS 8. And we'll do it from this DDP, of course. And I don't know if it's going to not let me put a transition in there, so we'll just go ahead and execute all that. And let's go to the legs, see what we need to do. VTAC, Elmuk, Binu. Okay, so we should go from, let's see, this Elmuk. See how we got this twice? So we definitely don't need this Elmuk in this shoe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Beano and put it with this Beano. And then we're going to take this DDP and put it here, and we'll check our flight plan out. See something here. Wesson, okay, that looks good. All right, so we're definitely going to be checking this out. So there's definitely no worries there. VTAC, Medley, Cloud. Okay, so let's execute that, of course. And now we're going to check the legs. Let me check you guys out in the chat. There's a lot to do. This is a longer flight. Not a super long flight, but you know, this is a lot going down with this 747. So Greenland Auto Broker says, what's good? And Keyshawn Christopher said, what computer you have? You can check my settings out in my YouTube description of this video. But I have basically an i7 10th generation processor with the NVIDIA GTX. I believe it's a 1080. Like I said, you can check it in the comments. It's got a Corsair cooling. So this is kind of what you want. And I believe it's not even 32 gigabytes of RAM. I think it's only 16 gigabytes of RAM, but don't quote me on that. So it was a pretty sharp system maybe 3 years ago. It's time for me to get my i9. And so I'm going to be upgrading here in the next couple weeks. Anyway, guys, let's keep rolling because we have a lot to do today in this aircraft. So what we want to do now, folks, is we want to basically come over here. You know what? Let me get a different view. Let me get a static view so my head's not moving around with the track IR. So that's the beautiful thing about the static view. We can just, slide it around as we need to so we can see what we're working with. So that's why this view. So if you got track IR, it's also good to have static views set up, guys. If you're going to use track IR, which I do recommend you use track IR. All right, so we're looking at this. And we're going to be looking at this. Okay, so now it's time to do our flight plan, because we want to make sure our flight plan looks good before we actually do anything else. Keyshawn Christopher says, Kate, bro. All right. So now that we see this, we are going to go ahead and step through our flight plan. All right. DTAC, Haggett, Calto, Zibber, Sayer. Okay, now see, this looks a little bit messy right here. So this is not what we need. So we essentially need to get rid of this DDP and stick with this other. So the first DDP we can get rid of because that's a cluster down there. So we want to hit delete and this first DDP. Let's put the second one and see what it looks like. I still don't like it, so let's get rid of the second DDP and we'll stick with Wesson. There we go. You guys see that now? Now we have a nice clean interception to Wesson, which will give us more than enough to get all over to runway 8. So I'm very satisfied. Keyshawn Christopher says, what flight simulator are you playing? Keyshawn, my friend, this is X-Plane 11. Right now, this is the only one I do until I get my new computer, which this computer could run Microsoft 2020, but I'm holding off on Microsoft 2020 more and more so that I hear other people in the community saying there's still some disparities in it. So I'm not ready to fly it because if it doesn't do everything I need to do my stream, I will not do it. Now, okay, so we got our flight plan good. We've executed it. We can see it on here. So now what we want to do is on this aircraft, it does have the actual database, I believe, from March of 2020 on the airports. So you can see here, here's runway 9 and here's our taxiway. So that's going to give us that information there, guys. Now, let us go and make sure our better pushback is going good here. Keyshawn says, nice to hear. And again, everybody, thanks for checking in on the stream. I always appreciate you guys. I'm about to check my phone here in a second. It is beeping. But I always appreciate you guys checking in with me. And let's pre-plan this pushback. Hopefully, okay, looks like I had flown out of here before, so there we go.
You're on the cockpit. Pilot knowledge. Call me to the menu when you're ready.
Miami traffic, thank you.
All right, so we got a pilot coming in, and let me check my phone now. He says yes, sir. Okay, so we are going to have one of my friends here, Greenlight Auto Brokers. He's going to be joining us. And Greenlight, let me give you the location to where we are at on the field, my friend. So there's an aircraft next to me, Greenlight. So I'll show you here where we're at, buddy. And we're gonna do it, man. I love flying with Greenlight, guys. He's it's been a pilot for a few years, and he loves flight simulation as well. And I have nothing but great things to say about him. He's sharing his wealth of knowledge with me as a real pilot, because I am not a real pilot. I am just a hardcore flight enthusiast that loves doing everything the right way, as close as possible. Of course, we still have a little fun in the sim, so if we're not doing all the checklists and everything perfect, that's okay, because I'm here to have fun too. But my fun goes into the realism. All right, my man Greenlight, and for everybody else, let's just get right into this. I am located, if you look here, on the southwest western cargo ramps right here, and I'm taking off on runway 9, and it makes sense to be over here because this is the longer runway, and we are definitely flying a heavy. Not to mention, guys, when you fly these large aircrafts, in the spirit of doing things right, you also need to check about where you can taxi with a 747. Keyshawn Christopher says, have you heard about X-Plane 12? And I most certainly have. I had the pleasure of attending the Flight Sim Expo this year in San Diego, which is only an hour away from my house, and that's where they announced it. But yes, I have, Keyshawn Christopher. What simulators do you fly? And do you have X-Plane 11 or 2020? Let me know, brother. All right, so let's look at this 747-8 approved routes. Now you can see the other side of the field is pretty much prohibited with the 747. So you can look to see if you're parked at this northern cargo area, you got to taxi this whole green route. And these are all the approved taxi routes for 747. Well, look where we're at, guys. Everything is pretty much green here. We can cross here on Tango 4, but we're not. We're going to take Sierra to Sierra 1, and there's our simple taxi, which makes a lot of sense. And this is pretty cool. They got Cargo City here. Now let me show you guys, since I have this map pulled up, what we're doing in Puerto Rico once we arrive in la isla más bonita del mundo. We are, let's see here, let's open the chart list, and I'm going to show you where we're going to park in Puerto Rico. Okay, coming in Puerto Rico, we're coming on runway 8. We'll probably do auto brake 3 or 4. If we miss all of these because we're heavy, this runway is only 10,400 feet. We're going to do this. There's a little turnaround area right here that we can use as a turnaround anyway. We'll turn the plane back around. We're going to come over here on Sierra, pick up November, and this right here is our parking area, which we'll pick what's available here. This is where we're going to park this bad boy. So that's what we're doing. Coming in runway 8, we should be passing right by the city. So that should be a nice scenic view, provided we don't have any severe weather. I'm going to check my phone here in a second, and I'm going to check the chat, guys. Like I said, this is definitely a busy time here. So let's get back to where we're at, of course, and then you can see that so that I can keep that up. Frequencies aren't so important because we are on VATSIM with no air traffic control. Let me check my text here. I'll fly 737, give him about 7 minutes. Roger that. Okay, so he's gonna fly 737, probably at 8 or 900 down to Puerto Rico, and he just says give him a few minutes, which is no worries because we still have work to do on here anyway, guys. Let me check the chat, and then we'll keep it moving right along. Again, thanks for joining, everybody. Keyshawn Christopher says X-Plane 11. My favorite plane is the Dash 8Q400. Man, I love that plane too, Keyshawn. I used to fly that in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Then they had it as well for P3D version 4, which I also have, but I don't fly because it's no comparison to this. But let me ask you this. I have the Dash 8 in this sim, but it's not modeled everything to where I would like it. Not like the Majestic Dash that's in P3D version 4 in Flight Sim. So let me know, do you have a better Dash than I do? Because I definitely want to get it, and I will definitely fly that plane. I love that plane. That was kind of what led me to fall in love with turboprops, was flying that plane in the simulation. I got the pro version, which modeled, you know, all of the icing conditions and everything. But yeah, man, that's good to know. I haven't flown that aircraft in a while because it's not modeled well here, to me, in my opinion, on X-Plane 11. Somebody needs to, and I'm saying somebody because it's not me. I don't know how to do the software and the coding and all that. But hopefully someone out there can, por favor, give us a better Dash 8 so we can fly that thing until the paint comes off the fuselage, baby. All right, guys, enough of those dramatics. Let us keep going. And he says, yeah, man. Keyshawn says the pro version. He says, I have that. Now, Keyshawn, are you flying that in P3D version 4, or are you doing that in Microsoft 2020 FSX? Let me know, brother. All right, so in order to get our zero fuel weight, what you're going to do, we're going to take this gross weight CG right here. You're going to click on it, and it gives you the zero fuel weight is 654,900 pounds. Remember, our reserves is 18. Actually, I'm going to put a modest 16,000 pounds of reserves in there. Now, what's going to happen when we take off? We're going to be using a lot of thrust. It's going to calculate that we don't have enough reserves in there, and it is most certainly going to say that we are low on fuel. We're going to extinguish those messages. Once we get up to the cruise, that will extinguish itself out, so don't worry about that. We have plenty of fuel on board, guys. 370 is our flight level that we're flying today. Let me see the cost index. Okay, cost index, I did 75. We did 75, so there we go. There's our cost index. Now we can go to our thrust limit and the outside temperature. I like to bounce this off of FlightAware. The outside temperature is actually 29 degrees Celsius, but it's reporting 30, and we're on using my active sky, so we're going to put 30 in there, and that's going to give us our takeoff. We're not doing a derated at all, and now we're going to come and we are going to do flaps 20 today, guys. We're doing flaps 20. You can see our trims are 7/8, and boom, boom, boom. All right, so there is everything set up. Our V speeds are confirmed. Now we can come over here to the legs page and put that in. And to give some more time, we're going to make sure green light has a chance to get in the sim. We're going to go ahead. I want you guys to pay attention to this 7.5 that I'm circling. Let's make that 7.8. Okay, now we have our trim set to 7.8. Trim set to 7.8. Our center of gravity is 16.7%. V speeds are, like I said, checked and confirmed, guys. And we're doing good. To be honest with you, let me check the chat. All right, chat says, yep, P3D version 4. Absolutely, understood. I know. And you know what? That sim can still look as great. I think there's more you got to do to put in it to make it look great, because I have it too. Trust me, I'm a enthusiast of all flight simulators, but for me, this X-Plane is the one I've just completely fell in love with, and I'm gonna fall in love with Microsoft 2020. I've had a love affair with all of them, so don't confuse my current love affair with X-Plane with any other sim that's actually decent, like DCS, FSX still, P3D version 4, you know, X-Plane and Microsoft 2020, which I haven't even flown yet, but it looks gorgeous. My father has it, so yes, I love them all, guys. He says, I'm getting DER. Not quite sure what that is, Keyshawn. What is DER? Let me know, brother. It might be something I just have no clue about. I want to get to 2020. Yes, sir. Okay, guys. So here we go. 135, 151, and 166 are the actual V speeds confirmed. And we are doing well. Let's see here. Jamba, Koala, Cloud. Okay, so that's all looking good here. Now let's go ahead and mess with the checklist, guys. All right, so now we're gonna have the checklist here. The pre-flight, there's a few things we got to do. It wants us to check oxygen levels. So we're gonna come right over here and we're gonna hold this down. For whatever reason, it never does it on the first try. All right, it will do it, I promise you. For whatever reason, you have to do, he says deer. He says, I'm getting deer. D-E-A-R, near, maybe is what it means. All right, anyway, we're going to check this oxygen level here. Now watch this. Flight instruments and the parking brake. Parking brake's not set, so let's go do something really quick. We're going to come back over to our ground services. And, okay, so let's close doors. We're not going to turn the APU on yet because I'm waiting for green light to get loaded up. But we are going to close all the doors now, and I'm going to remove the chocks. Set the parking brake. So parking brake is now set. Now watch, I did all that. Now I got to come back and do the oxygen. Now look at this, guys. I did it for a third time and it actually accepted it in. So we're gonna select OK. Passenger signs are on. The MCP now is what we have to set up, which we haven't done. So we are going to take this and we're going right up to 370, so there's no worries there. So let's get our MCP set up. Thank goodness for the checklist, right? And then we'll also look at our runway heading. Again, with these all these aircraft, you know, as Greenlight has reiterated to me several times, success in your flight often mainly lies within what you do in your pre-flight. So we want to do everything right. Let's get our flight directors on, guys. Flight directors on, and we can do an initial climb out speed. If you see here, flaps 20 is 235 knots. So we are going to skirt right at 220. And let's look at our initial heading, which should be 92. So we're going to do an initial heading of 92. And Keyshawn says, a next plane I love is the PMG 737. Yes, sir. I have those too, the 737 and the 777, and P3D and Microsoft FSX. All right, we said 92. All right, so we've got our MCP set up now. Flight directors are both on. The indicated airspeed is set for 220, which is definitely below 235 knots on the flap limit. And we have our heading of 92, and our altitude is set for flight level 370. So the MCP is definitely taken care of. Let's go back down here and select OK. And Fires is giving us a clap. Thank you for that, Fires, and everyone checking in. Our CDU pre-flight is complete, folks. Trims have been set. Taxi and takeoff briefing is completed. We saw what taxi we're taking. We're going to exit the ramp onto Sierra, take a right onto Sierra, take it to Sierra 1, base at runway 9, line up, and do that piece. So that briefing is complete. And we're not going to turn our beacons on yet. We're going to see if our good friend is loaded up yet. He said give him a couple more minutes, so we're going to do that. And yeah, so we're pretty much ready to go on this wonderful flight. Ustedes están buscando una canción reggaeton, so he's still here. So let's go outside, guys, and it's gonna be a little bit spotty because the frames are a little harder here because this is actually payware scenery and payware aircraft. So that's runway 9. Most of the activity is gonna be on the other side of the field. All right. Se va a despegar este avión, and this guy's getting ready to take off. Any of my Boricuas watching today, this is in honor of a request from a fellow Boricua for me to fly into Puerto Rico, which is Luis Munoz Marin International. All right. So we can see this guy. What airport we at? Fires ask. We are at Miami International on the VATSIM network, heading to Puerto Rico. And here's 08 right. He should be getting ready to start his takeoff roll. So look at this scenery, guys. It's pretty detailed. You see cars in the backgrounds, buildings. I do have HD trees in here, so the trees will look a little better. All right, he is starting his runway roll. And we'll watch him depart while we are waiting for my fellow pilot green light to load up. And then we've got one inbound too, according to the radio there. So he should be getting ready to rotate here any second now. There goes his rotation. And is starting his initial climb out. All right, green light says he's loading right now. No worries. And he is off and out of there, guys. Respond here. All right, so I've flown. Ooh, I almost coughed there. Excuse me. I've flown Atlas Air quite a bit. I was thinking about doing Atlas, but I said, let me give UPS some love today. Let's look and see. Okay, this guy's departing. We got another American aircraft on here. And all we're doing right now, guys, we're waiting for my fellow pilot to load up as well. And I don't see anybody right now on final. So we'll see if they're a little further out. But yeah, guys, we're all ready to go. We are just waiting for another person that's flying with me. Green Light Auto Brokers is his handle. I know him as a different name, but I promised him. And I suppose, guys, I should have put the UPS aircraft over here. But you know what? We're breaking rules today. So we're actually in the other ramp, which I prefer to do that. It's less on the taxi, guys. Again, welcome to the stream, everybody. If you're just joining, please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. We are just simply waiting for a good friend of mine here that I've met in the flight sim community to load his aircraft up. Look at that scenery in the background, guys. You can see, you know, the wonderful buildings back there. And that's the aircraft that just departed here. Since we're waiting, guys, let's continue to be nosy since we've done what we needed to do. So some of these are static aircraft. You can see this guy down here walking. Some of these are just static aircraft because of the scenery, and then some of these aircraft obviously are aircraft like this American Airlines flight 2283, and it looks like maybe it's a 777. Let's get a little closer just because we can be nosy, guys, at this point. All right, and it is a 777. Key giveaway is the 3 rows of landing gear per each rear landing gear. So this is a 777 they're flying. Yeah, this scenery is pretty cool. I think this scenery, you can actually go in the airport. Let's try that, guys. So this scenery is pretty cool. You can actually come in the airport and look around. You guys want to go shop at the canteen while we're waiting for green light? There it is. It's got baggage claim, ground transportation. We got a Pizza Hut in here. And look at that. We got McDonald's over here. We got the desk. So this is some actual great scenery, and you can look and see your aircraft out there. So if we were parked at a gate, we could do this too, but we're not. We're parked at a cargo stand due to the nature of the aircraft. You know, it's a cargo plane, so they're not going to load up at a gate. However, it's pretty cool, guys. What do you think? I think this scenery is definitely worth it. And, you know, basically just look for the best payware scenery for Miami on the xplane.org store. And look at this, guys. I mean, it is not just a little bit. The whole airport is modeled on the inside, guys. I'm going to find out. Here, I'll tell you right now what scenery this is, guys. This scenery is... Let's see. Stand by. Got some scenery. See, Seattle. I'm looking for Miami. Where's Miami? So I have also San Juan is actually, I believe, that scenery once we fly into San Juan is just going to be regular scenery from the gateway. Updated. It's updated scenery, but it's freeware from the forums on X-Plane. Nimbus Simulation. This is a scenery by Nimbus Simulation, guys. Totally worth it, as you can see. Very high detail scenery. Like I said, this is Nimbus Simulation Scenery. And again, we're just doing this right now because of green light is loading up, but it's pretty detailed, and I guess I should stop. I don't want this thing to crash because we're doing too much. But yeah, definitely awesome scenery, guys. Let's jump back over into our plane. And let me refix this here so that I can have my static view back. This will give us the view when I don't want my track IR to move around, basically, is what I'm doing here. Keyshawn says X-Plane 10 mobile global is not bad. You know, I've had X-Plane on my phone before, and it actually does. The graphics are great. I got an iPhone, and the graphics really show up quite well. All right, guys, let's just look at our surrounding area and kill some time here. Let's see, it looks like we got a FedEx plane on the move. Let's be nosy still. All right, we've got our FedEx here. Let's see what this person is flying. British Airways. And we've got a message. It says it's loading now still, no worries. We can be patient, guys. And we've got this British Airways livery, but he's flying. It's supposed to be for FedEx. That's okay, though. And they're soon to be at her. Now, this looks like an Airbus, so what may have happened? The simulator may just be reading this as the default whatever, because the model does not show up in the AI packages that reflect the right aircraft model when somebody loads up. Keyshawn says that is an A220 in the house. All right, looks like they're starting their runway roll. So we'll check them out. Again, guys, we are all ready to go. We are just being patient and waiting. He says no, A321. That's what I thought so too. But right now we're just being patient. We're literally just waiting on our fellow pilot to join up. Look at this. Wow, we're super busy. We got an Atlas Air coming through right now as well. Green light says he's in. Perfect, perfect. He is in. And we can see that aircraft right there departing to the east. And that's the same runway we're taking, guys, because the winds are out of the east. Pretty busy here at Miami for a Sunday on VATSIM with no special event. We got people just deciding to fly out of here. So, yeah. Let me just text him. Let me know when you are ready to push back. Because my taxi is super short. All right, guys, so he's in. Without further ado, this ought to be an interesting flight. We're going to be passing over some islands, and we'll give a little history on those islands. Not that I'm a perfect Drew Stone, yo, big up, Drew Stone. Thanks for joining the stream, Drew. Drew is always supporting all of us flight sim content creators. So Drew Stone, thank you for joining the stream, my friend. We are headed from Miami International down to Puerto Rico today, and he is going to be 1877. He's at gate Delta 46. So let's go check him out. And Drew Stone is typing in route. I don't have Nightbot on here going. Let me see if I can just do Nightbot right now. Let me see how this is going to work out. I do have Nightbot, guys. I haven't done much. Let's see, Nightbot. And let me log into Nightbot. Sign in, log in. All right, so I am in dashboard. Let me see, join channel. Let me see what that does. Ensure you have modded Nightbot, and then you have modded Nightbot channel. If Nightbot is not a moderator, it cannot function properly. Head to your community settings. Enter enter into the moderators list, and don't forget to press save. Go live. Nightbot will join streams that are live. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. I'll do my next Nightbot after I see that I got to do some stuff before I make the stream go live and put it as a moderator. Cool. Oh wow, he still got the route. That's pretty cool. So Drew says, via his meter that the winds 4 minutes ago, winds are at 80 knots or 80 degrees at 8 knots. Visibility is 10 static miles. Light rain clouds scattered at 3,000 feet. Some cumulus clouds broken at 7,000 feet. Overcast at 9,000 feet. Temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. Dew point 22 Celsius. Altimeter is 2983. So let's change that altimeter setting. We have 2982, but obviously the weather is updated since the last time we checked, so it's only one click. Now we're at 2983, and the rest is looking good. Let's go out and see if we can find green light. He's at the Delta Concourse, and let's see, Delta Concourse, got it. Let's see here. He is, thank you, 187. Okay, that's just because I didn't actually click into the text. So let's go see what the Delta Concourse looks like and see where our friend green light is at. All right, there we go. Looks like he's flying British Airways 1877. All right. Hey, my love, my wonderful, beautiful wife is here. ¿Cómo estás, mi amor? Love you. So green light's flying along. We would have took off, but he wanted to fly as well too. I texted him, so I'll probably take a break here and go get some water and use the restroom in the middle of the flight. So love you, baby. All right, love of my life is in here checking me out. So this is green light's aircraft right here. You can see now the reason why you may saying, why is it British Airways, Caribbean Airlines? Well, a lot of these islands are owned, and you know what may be going on too? It looks like there's two aircraft. What happened is I think he loaded in on one of the static aircraft, no fault of his own. His sim, this is probably not going to be there. But here is green light here, and this looks like 737. Looks like maybe this is a looks like a 700 to me. Could be an 800 though. Anyway, there we go, guys. So we are doing well back in our aircraft, just standing by, man. Let's check the chat. What's everybody else doing today? What we got? It's a 800. Keyshawn says, and green light is saying what's up to Drew Stone. He's saying what is up, my brother. All right. Okay. So we're almost ready to go, guys. 53 minutes into the stream. Thanks everyone for joining the stream today. We ought to have a great flight out of Miami. Guys, we've already, if you go back and rewind the stream, we are just before start and we're waiting on our beacon. So that means we'll put our beacon on and then push back. So right now we've done everything. We've done all the checklists up until this point. We do have the plane ready to go. Again, for those just joining the stream, let's look at what we did so far since you're just joining. We went ahead and I brought in the actual flight plan and we matched up all the numbers as far as the fuel is concerned. You can see on fueling here, everything is loaded up. Everything is loaded up there, so that's good, guys. We got our GPU on, everything is working. We've got everything set up, so we're just basically waiting on green light to give us the green light. It's a little pun there, you guys can use that. So let's go ahead and click our LNAV and our VNAV, since that's what we will be taking out. Lastly, what we want to do, guys, we're going to confirm since we're waiting for green light, he's going to give me the green light that he's ready to push back, and then we'll get going, guys. So just going to give it a few more minutes. Let's go ahead and look at our departure today, guys, and I'm going to bring it in. We are departing on the Clada 1. So you always want to match up your FMC with the actual waypoints, okay? Let's see here. All right. So as you guys can see here, we don't even really need to look at the visuals. Let's read the narrative. Narrative says climb on a heading of 92, intercept course 111 to Jamba, then on track 124. you can see that right here, 92 to Jamba, and then we'll be on a heading of 111, and then on track 124 to Kabola, which we actually have 126, and we then are going to head to Klada. We need to be below 16,000 there, and then DTAC is our transition waypoint right here, which will be at Medley above flight level 280, heading on a heading of 119. Let's see if this agrees. And it's actually 121. It's just slightly off, you know, due to its own GPS coordinates here in the sim. So it's no worries, it's close enough. So our departure, excuse me, looks good. Now if we go right into our arrival, let's see here what we got here. Previous page, Wesson. Okay, there's BTAC. So we'll be 406 nautical miles to Haggett at flight level 370, and another 157 7 nautical miles on a heading of 131 to Kaltu. And then, as you can see, Zibber is the first waypoint on the arrival. Will actually be down to flight level 320. So what that means for us is, let's come over here now and take a look at that and make sure that looks good. Let's open these charts here, guys, and let's go to the approach, which is the Beano tree, and you can see Beano's at 11,000, and that's pretty much Beano and Milet are the two waypoints. There's not even any speed restrictions, so we'll have to make sure we monitor that. So 11,000 Beano, above 6,000 at Milet. Let's double check that. 11,000 at Beano, above 6,000 at Milet at 250. Wesson is going to be at 240. I think that's a little bit too high for Wesson. So let's bring Wesson down to at least 210 and 32 above. So we're going to change that right now, guys. I think that's too fast to be that close. We'll re-execute that. It's going to recalculate its speed. So still 250 at Milet, 210 at Wesson, 180 at Jorrell, and so on and so forth, which is perfect for me. So guys, we've got a great setup there. Let me pull that Navi graph back to my next screen here. And we are ready to go. All right, guys, a few more seconds. Like I said, we're just waiting for Drew Stone to... not Drew Stone, excuse me, Drew, I'm putting your name out there. We're waiting for green light to actually get his jams going there, meaning his aircraft all set up and ready to go. Let me come back into this screen, dance it back a little bit, and of course let me get my Navi graph back on the right taxi chart so that we can depart correctly. Even though it's a super simple taxi, you still want to have that for as your reference. All right, so it shouldn't be much longer. I know he's cruising right along. So let's go ahead and call that pushback cart. All right, so we're going to call the better pushback at this point.
Ground to cockpit.
And
Driving up.
all right, guys, he gave me the green light to go. Green light gave me the green light. Woo, it's a little hot in here. I'm about to turn the fan on once I stand up. The ceiling fan that I installed. All right, guys, you know what that means. It means it's time for work. Music is off. We have plenty of time for that. It is time to go. And now that our pushback is coming, you guys can definitely see that we need to get beacons. We're going to get them onto the both. And now we can go ahead and start that APU. APU is starting, guys. Let's go ahead and complete the checklist. All right, before taxi, anti-ice, recall, auto brake is already to RTO. Flight controls check, ground equipment, which gives me it's a good thing I'm doing this.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
All right, flight controls look good. And now what we can do is come over here. And we're going to be showing you some different features of this aircraft. We are going to go down into the electrical. All right, guys. So now here's APU, APU2. They are going. We just need to connect them. So we're going to come up here and we're going to, oh, they're already automatically connecting this aircraft. So APU generators 1 and 2 are on, which means we need to come now down to the ground service and get rid of the GPU. Doors are all closed, but you don't want to just use this as a reference.
Unicom ready, check.
Let's go ahead. First of all, let's check the APU. Now the APU is connected to the buses. You see that, guys? Got power, which we should have saw that the first time.
And bypass pin and service.
And
release parking
now
brake.
we can check the doors, and we'll release the parking brake once we're ready. Don't let them bully you. Doors are checked. Everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and release that parking brake, guys. Parking brake is right here. All right, now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a treat.
Start engines.
We are not going to start engines yet. We are going to go to the tug cab view. We're going to see what he sees, folks. Look at that beast that he's pushing back, which is us. There we go. This is what the tub cab person sees. So he's definitely has a more than dangerous job. Once we get pushed back, we got to make sure we put our transponder on. And let me check you guys out in the chat. Keyshawn, bro, fixing the flight plan is good, but it takes time. When I'm playing X-Plane, most of the time I do flights, but I play around in the multiplayer sometimes. I feel you. I feel you, Keyshawn. And, you know, to each their own. I particularly like doing everything, you know, the right way and doing the flight plan as it should be and all that stuff. So, you know, but to each their own, man. However you enjoy the simulator, however you want to do it is all perfect. You know, in this lifetime probably will never be a commercial pilot. I probably will eventually get my private pilot's license, which I could do, just other things are taking priority right now. So this is my way of getting that realism in for me, feeling like that I am actually an airline pilot, so that's why I do this. Plus it's how I unwind, so to speak, which is kind of peculiar to my wife that I would want to do so much brain activity. Keyshawn Christopher says, because he is young still. You know what? Enjoy being young, guys. Enjoy being young. Let's bring this view down just a little bit so it looks a little better. Let's nose up a little bit. There we go. And we'll have our view here, kind of like right here. Keyshawn says that's true. Yes, enjoy your life while you're young, man. I'm in my 4th decade already, so life does go quick. So a lot of these kids today, some of my kids included when they were younger, which is a natural thing, they want to hurry up and grow up. As parents, as older adults, we're saying, you know, enjoy your time now. You will be grown, you know, in God's plan soon enough. So just enjoy the time while you're young. Try to be positive, because even what you do now in your life can affect you later on in life. So just keep that in mind. All right, parking brake is now set.
Disconnecting tow.
Let's go ahead and come down to our transponder. And I'm sure we're starting to get that low message fuel warning. See, insufficient fuel. Do not worry about this, guys. That is going to come up because the aircraft is still trying to do its best. It happens to me almost every flight in this thing, and the fuel is always good to go. All right, back to the checklist, guys. We're going to do the checklist here. So anti-ice, we don't need anti-ice on now, but we have the APU on. So let's go up and top and do a few things first. All right, everything on this aircraft pretty much needs to be to auto. So let's get our hydraulics to auto. And you'll see that there that is going on now. For our fuel pumps, we don't have anything in the center tank, but we're going to verify that. So we're going to turn all these fuel pumps on down here, and we need to turn the APU bleeds on, and the isolation valves are already open.
Next time, and have a safe flight.
Let's see, everything here down here looks good. Everything is here to auto already, so that's the beautiful thing about this aircraft. Even though you still need to check, our bleeds are on. And everything up top is good to go. Now, before we start those engines, just to verify that there is no fuel in the center tank, you're going to come down, click on fuel. Here's the center tank. It's 0.1, so that's probably some gaseous states or a little bit of fuel in there. Nothing significant for us to turn that pump on. All right, guys, let's go do our call out on starting the right engines. Okay, here's our ground crew. He's cleared out of the way. The right side looks clear. Starting engines 4 and 3, so you can actually do them at the same time. There's 4, there's 3. Now we're going to put this into our engine. And you see both 4 and 3 coming up. Yes, you can start them on time. At the same time, these two, it just depends on the protocols of the airline. And I'll let those two stabilize before I start, get close to stabilizing before I start engines 2 and 1. Engines 1 and 2 are most certainly coming up, guys. While they're coming up, let's check the chat. Captain Rimdog says, hello, sir. Captain Rimdog, thanks for joining the stream. Captain Nate says, hey, yo. Captain Nate, thanks for joining the stream. Thanks, everybody, for joining the stream on the Sunday and sharing your time with me. Do not worry about that. That is the message, that we don't have enough fuel, but we most certainly do, and that probably has to do with the coding on how they did all this good stuff. You guys can see we have good starts, pretty much. Still in the auto start sequence for 3 and 4 running, and we're just going to wait for this to get to running. Now we're going to go ahead and start engines 2 and 1. 2 starting, 1 starting, auto start sequence initiated. Now we can go ahead and let's push that recall button. The recall button, guys, is right over here. Oops. Recall button is checked. Anti-ice is as required. It's all on auto, so we'll get a green there. Recall button has checked. Auto brake is now going to be to RTO. Flight controls, let's go ahead and check those now. And let's see what the status is on our engines running. Okay, they're not going to run yet because we need to introduce fuel. Now they are coming up. We already got our flap set to 7.8. RTO is on. And you can see now we're getting some other informations on our flight annunciator here. We got electric generator 2 and 1 off, bleeds 2 and 1 off, just because the right engines, 2 right engines are started. The lefts are not started yet. They're in the process. And let's check the chat here. It says, okay, you guys are just checking in. Captain Rendog says, just gained 1 sub. Thank you so much, Captain Rendog. I can tell you're using X camera. Yes, sir. You are absolutely right, Captain Rendog. I am using X camera. I could do without it, but I wouldn't want to. Why would I? All right, guys, we're going to go up top. You double check everything. Make sure all of our hydraulic pumps are on. And now if we want to go ahead and check our generators, the generators are all on. You can see it just says the APU is available. But before we extinguish that, folks, you just need to make sure you just don't go in this type of aircraft with this type of complexity. Do it. Now you can see those buses are only tied to the generator. You can see the leads from external power and APU 1, 2, and external 2. They are all extinguished. So it is okay for us right now to go ahead and take the bleeds off to close the isolation valve. And let's get the packs on. Even though the center pack will not reflect on, it's going to always reflect off. I turn it on anyway, which is really no need to, but I do anyway. So shame on me, but that's how I'm rolling. Now we can go ahead and extinguish that APU because we do not want to burn any unnecessary fuel. Of course, we're going to keep extinguishing that message. Do not worry about that. Let's go back to the checklist. Back on the checklist, guys. Flight controls. It's time to check those. All right. Here we go. Now, when we do our flight controls check, you got to switch the screen as well. All right. Here we go for the flight controls check. We're going to go full up, full down, neutral, aileron left, aileron right, neutral, and then we're going to do our rudder play. Rudder right and rudder left. And to answer your question, these flight controls, this is just a pro flight sim yoke, which I'm waiting on the honeycomb. I guess it's the Bravo they're coming out with that they announced at the Flight Sim Expo. This was only a 169, man, for all this stuff. That's why I got it. So the other one will be a little bit more expensive. And of course, I'm using the Thrustmaster rudder pedals, which I've come to love, man. All right, back to the checklist. Oops, it must have not clicked it correctly. Back to the checklist, guys. Flight controls are checked. Ground equipment is clear. And before taxi flaps, we're doing flaps 20. So, 2, 10, 20. All right. 20 is selected in our flap lever. We're just waiting for it to indicate, guys. So now we can come back here. Flaps are being set. Flaps are set and checked. Landing gear up, flaps. That's our after takeoff, guys. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to keep it on
Miami traffic, this is Air Caribbean 1877. We'll be pushing back from gate Delta 46. We'll be tapping
All right, guys, let's get our
to Mike 1 for departure to 08 right for departure to the east. Miami traffic.
And that, guys, who you just heard, that was green light. You know what we got to do now, guys? We got to come out here and we got to always make sure we look official. Look at this thing. I love what they did with the engines. They put that little extra white in there. You can see them bad boys really spinning good. I think this is a pretty good rendition of a UPS model. Look at that. Landing lights, taxi lights. Here's the landing lights. We got our taxi lights on here. We got those engines turning, so we're good to go. Here we go. Let's make our announcement. Miami traffic, UPS Heavy 318 is at the Southwest Cargo Ramp. We'll be taxiing via Sierra 1 for takeoff on runway 9, departure to the east. Miami traffic. All right, guys, who's ready to roll? I'm ready to roll. Everything is done. Our transponders are on, so everything is ready to go, guys. So let's go ahead and release parking brake, which we did. And let's roll up out of here, guys. Thanks for your patience. We were just simply waiting for green light to get loaded up. As you can see, he's starting to push back. Here we go. We got a nice little roll starting. X-Plane 11 and Facts 2020 have competition. It's going down, man. Keyshawn Christopher says. And Drew Stone says, Toga. Keyshawn, you are right, my friend, my young friend. You know, there is definitely competition. However, I think that both sims, no matter what, especially with X-Plane 12 coming out, both sims are going to remain in competition. So you'll be able to get stuff from both sims that fits our needs, is what I'm thinking. So I'll definitely be flying them both. Competition is always good anyway. That keeps things legit. You know, just like a gas station, putting another gas station across, that's going to get those prices super competitive. So you're getting the best prices, even though we know gas prices are basically highway robbery. Slow her down on the taxiway. Now, don't forget, we already double checked this Sierra as an approved taxiway for a 747. But you got to remember to swing this thing wide and make your turns nice and slow. This is not a, stunt aircraft. This is definitely something you have to use finesse. I call this the Cadillac of the skies. You know, it's also known as the Queen of the skies, of course. All right, I feel like we're sitting just a little bit high. There we go. Actually, let's come up a little higher so we can see our MFD correctly. About right here, guys. All right, we are taxiing right now, guys, to runway 9 for immediate departure on the Cloud 1 with the route that we've already looked at. And let me check you guys out in the chat here. Says, as soon as you said that, I went full Togo for departure from Key. Nice. See, man, it's all planned out perfectly. All right, guys. We are doing well here. Finally got our taxi going. Flying time today, guys, on this non-stop cargo flight to Puerto Rico, which is Luis Muñoz Marin International Airport on the wonderful island of Puerto Rico, is 2 hours and 6 minutes. We are UPS 318 heavy with 233.9 thousand pounds of cargo. We're gonna take the last taxiway here, and then, guys, guess what? We are on our way. Please remind me to start that clock. That is my arch nemesis, is starting that clock. And guys, I'll check you guys in the air. Whatever who just chatted in, I'm going to check you guys out in the air because we have been waiting to take off for quite some time with good reason. All right, we're going to go ahead and make that nice soft left. And then we'll do our call out here. All right, let's slow our roll just a little bit. Use those toe brakes. Toe brakes are checked. And of course, we also need to get that strobe on. Strobe is on. And there we go. We are going to enter that runway now. Final looks clear. Let's go ahead and hit the clock. Clock is started. Auto throttles are armed. Miami traffic, UPS 318 heavy is entering runway 9 for immediate departure to the east, climbing unrestricted up to flight level 370, Miami traffic. All right, guys. Let's do it. Remember, we got to swing her nice and easy, guys. That's that message that we're not caring about. I'll extinguish it before we take off. Again, we do have plenty of fuel for this, so we are good to go, guys. Don't worry about that fuel message. It'll balance itself out in the air, and we're not going to get it. I do believe it is just an error in the coding for the logic for the CDU, which is no big deal. All right, really quick, as we're doing our lineup, let's extinguish that message. All right, guys. I believe we are all lined up. Let's stabilize those engines. Right at 40%. All right, 40% stabilization. Toga. Takeoff power is set. Airspeed is alive.
$80 knots.
80 knots cross check. Little bit of right rudder play here, folks. Keeping it center line for you. V1.
Rotate.
V rotate confirm.
V2.
V2. Positive rate. Landing gear is coming up. Alright, dialing that speed back a little because she will get away. Alright, got to start trimming it down. Let's go ahead and get on our flight path here before we activate the autopilot. Alright. Speed is increasing, reducing one stage of flaps. Second stage of flaps. Autopilot is connected. Flaps up. And we've got our takeoff. Landing gear is up. RTO is in the off position. Flaps are on their way up, of course. Like I said, this thing picks up speed fairly quick. Miami traffic, UPS 318 heavy is climbing now, unrestricted up to the flight level 370 to the east. Miami traffic. Alright guys, just taking some of this scenery as we climb. And we are at 250. The aircraft is in the VNAV mode. And you guys can see we're doing a little bit of a right turn. Let's look out the first officer side here and see what we can see. Just that beautiful scenery. The aircraft is bouncing around a little bit due to a little bit of the choppy wind here, as we're going to be going up into a little bit of overcast clouds here. As anticipated, I'll get to you guys in the chat in a second here. Just trying to get some scenic views for us. Not going to do a flyby yet because it may still be a little stuttery because of how powerful that payware scenery is. Alright guys, let's do our after takeoff checklist. Flaps and landing gear are up. It already did it for us because we already did it, and it goes into descent. So now we're going to go back to the status page as we climb out of the Miami area. And status page is checked and confirmed, and now we don't have any messages yet. See, the aircraft is doing its best to follow the flight path. Now we can get our range situated so we can see a little bit better. Alright, we're out to 20 nautical miles, and you can see that this will be the top of climb here, because remember, it is departing based off of the Clada 1 departure, so it's going to be meeting certain restrictions, so we'll let the aircraft just kind of do that. Get you guys a little view here out of the window, and let's check the chats. Alright, let's see. Drew Stone says 27 minutes ago the wind is out of the east, basically southeast, at Puerto Rico at at Luis Munoz Marin. Visibility is 10 static miles. Clouds scattered. 28,000 feet scattered. 3,300 feet, or 2,800 feet, which is scattered. More scattered at 3,300 feet. There's some broken clouds at 7,000 feet. Temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. Thank you, Drew, for doing that. Captain Rendock says, I don't know, because the A220 for MFS is coming out to Microsoft Flight Simulator, so that makes a change. Ideas anytime and every day. Keyshawn says true. Somebody says between the 747 and the A340, which is better? The A340, I haven't flown the A340, so I couldn't tell you. I definitely love flying the 747. Captain Rendog had asked me, as a casual noob simmer but knows how to start some planes like the A320neo, the Boeing 767, A319, which flight sim do you reckon I should get? I'm also planning to spend not that much of money. It's kind of a tough question. You know, it just depends really on what your operating system is, what computer that you have to actually run what you want to do.
Mike traffic, Air Caribbean 1877 is taxiing in November to Mike 1 for departure to the east on the Cloud 1 departure. Mike traffic.
Okay, and that's green light that we heard. He's getting ready for his departure. Before we get to remiss, and I'll get back to the chat, we have to always double check our aircraft. So as you can see, we are past the 10,000, which means we need to do landing lights off. All our lights are off and clean, looking good. No further message on the MCP or the FMS, and we'll get back to that, guys. Now, let's get back to the chat. We'll just kind of keep the aircraft here. Let me give you guys a little bit of a higher scene here. We'll just tilt the nose down so we can see the flight controls and all that, or the avionics. There we go. I'll keep you guys like that for now. Okay, so Drew Storm said, I got you. Thank you, Drew, man. You the man. But again, back to Captain Rendog, it just depends on what computer that you have. If you have a lower system with lower specs, which doesn't mean anything bad, then I would definitely do P3D version 4 and start learning in that. If you have an i7, a good graphics card, and it can run X-Plane or Microsoft 2020, which Microsoft 2020 I don't have yet, but I plan to get it, I would say get those sims because those are so new. P3D version 4 is still being developed and supported and updated because that comes obviously from Lockheed Martin, and they make aircraft, so they're going to continue to have that. But I would just say, first of all, look at your computer specs and what you have, then look at what's required of these simulators and then get those. If you can, I would get Microsoft 2020 and X-Plane 11, either or, because like X-Plane 11, there's a lot of aircraft developed, the graphics are great, there's a lot of camera functions built in, which I'm sure Microsoft 2020 had put in there as well to kind of mirror the two functionalities of both the sims. So I would just say start there, watch a lot of YouTube, see what works for you, and go from there. Keyshawn Christopher says, you don't have FS Passenger. I don't, but I am going to get that for all the tones. I just don't have that right now. Captain Rendog says, so my PC that I'm buying soon has an i5 10600K RTX 20 Super 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So with an i5, I still recommend P3D version 4. I don't know, you know, X-Plane is not going to run too hot on an i5, unfortunately, because it's such a demanding simulator. I would run P3D version 4. I could be wrong. It could be a new optimized different generation of i5 and it could do better. I don't know. But from what my experience is, I would not, you guys see that lightning strike over there? I would not have purchased X-Plane until I got my i7. I kind of know a little bit about the processors. I do run my own, my wife and I own our own company, so we do have company computers. We've got an i3, an i5, and i7 throughout the mixture of computers that we have, and I can tell you, this really runs smooth on the i7. So, Drew Stone says XP12 having double yoke joystick is awesome. X-Plane 12, yes, having double yoke and joystick is going to be awesome, meaning you can both probably be in the same room and do a shared flight there. So, guys, we're doing good. Keyshawn Christopher says, oh, now Keyshawn, again, there's different generations of processors. I'm not saying that that won't run X-Plane. I'm just saying in my experience, you know, which I'm sharing with you, I find that X-Plane runs the best, at least with an i7. As you can see, even with that scenery in Miami, there was slight stuttering as I panned around. And that's because those frames we're so bogged down by not only this payware aircraft from SSG. This is SSG's, I believe, anniversary edition of the 747, and then it was Nimbus simulations for the Miami International Airport scenery. So between those two, you can see as I looked around, it even started, and that's with an i7 10th generation. So that's all I'll say. Captain Rendog says, thanks for the opinion. I'll try my best to have a final opinion. And again, when I say Captain Rendog, go on YouTube. I'm sure somebody has a video of what computers can run the simulator. So I would go on YouTube in the search engine, type in best computer for X-Plane 11, best computer for Microsoft 2020, or best computer for P3D version 4. What you have can definitely run P3D version 4, and that is a pretty good simulator. There is a lot of a la carte things you have to purchase for that sim, which you'll find out. So just do your research. There's plenty of information out there on the web and plenty of YouTubers doing it. Guys, one thing we didn't do, we passed flight level 180, so we got to put this into the standard altimeter, which we did, a little bit behind. It's because I'm explaining. So guys, pretty smooth already. We did get our clock started, so that's a good thing. Let's see how much flying time we got in here so far. So right now we got 11 minutes and 55 seconds on the chronometer. So let's see how close we stick to 2 hours and 6 minutes on this flying time, folks. All right, let's get our static view a little better. And then as we get a little further out, I think it's safe enough to do a flyby now, guys. Captain Rendog says, okay, cheers. I appreciate it. No problem. That's what we're here to do on this channel, is to actually help folks out. Here's our flyby. Woo! She is smoking, boy, and you can see my frames are better because I'm further away from that traffic. All right, you guys know we got to do our outside view before I get the music started. You see that weather updating. And guys, we have definitely left Miami in the rear view. And we are rolling. Daisy Sanchez, mi amor, como estás, mi esposa. My wife says, hi, Captain Sanchez. Let me get your number, LOL. You know what, baby? You can get my number anytime, as sweet and cute as you are. Awesome wife, awesome mother of our many children that we have. And yeah, so thanks for supporting me, baby. Couldn't do this without you. Wouldn't want to do it. Drew Stone says, best computer is always never a standard to go by. It's so true. It's so true. Keyshawn Christopher says, she is fast. She's fast. Yes, she is. Doing that flyby. Drew Stone 77 giving a big up to my wonderful spouse. Love to see the camaraderie in the chat. Keep it up. You guys ready for some music? We got a long one. So what we're going to be doing, hopefully we get some breaks in the clouds. I am going to be giving you guys a little bit of a geography and history lesson, which I'll be learning here at the same time. So not that we're going to be able to see it, of course, but we are getting ready to pass over the Bahamas. If you look at my Navi graph, you can see this is the Bahamas here. We're getting ready to pass directly over the Bahamas, the northern portion of the island. And so we'll kind of talk a little bit about the Bahamas. As we continue on our southeastern route, we are also going to be passing over some of these islands over here, like Snug Corner Settlement and Clarence Town. And we've also got Providenciales and Cockburn Harbor, Cockburn Town. And then, of course, we have... we passed Turks and Caicos Islands. Then as we go forth, we continue our route. We've got the San Juan, or Puerto Rico here, San Juan, but that's not to be remiss that we will be passing to the east of the Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So we are most certainly cruising right along. Check you guys out here in the chat, and then we'll get some music on. Let's see. Yes, Keyshawn, we have live weather. We are running active sky for X-Plane. We have live weather. Yes, we do. And you will see it will update. So I only fly with actual weather, which helps us to... And X-Plane has its own built-in weather system, but active sky is a little bit more dialed in. Let's get rid of those flight controls for you that we don't need right now. There we go. All right. So yes, we are flying with active sky, and you can see between here and BTAC is when we're starting to get over the Bahama Islands. Man, I was really hoping we had a visual of the ground, but we don't. So let's talk about the Bahama Islands really quick and some of these surrounding islands. Let me dry my nose here. My wife says I'm a nice person, but for some reason I sweat on the nose, and mean people sweat on the nose. So you guys better watch out for me. All right, so let's crank some music up, and of course you guys are always going to let me know about my volume, so please let me know if the volumes are too soft, too loud. This one's kind of coming in this is one of those softer songs, so we'll just put that right there. Guys, for anyone joining the stream really quick before I continue going off on my tangent about this island, welcome to the stream. If you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button and the like button. Let's grow the channel together and share it out. I really enjoy doing this with you guys, and you guys seem to be entertained, so I appreciate it. And hopefully we learn something here on the channel and grow from there. Now, let's talk about the Bahama Islands. Then we're going to talk about some cool stuff on this SSG anniversary edition of the Queen of the Skies, the Boeing 747 in all its greatness. So we are passing over the Bahama Islands. Obviously, we can come over to the first officer side, and we've got nothing but cloud cover, guys. So not a whole lot going there. Let me give you guys another little view of the cockpit, which I set up. This is from one of the jump seats. So if you come here and you look back, you got a jump seat there. So that's kind of where we're going to be at, right here. That's pretty cool, but I don't have a static one set up. And actually, I can make it static right now. Let's do something. So all you got to do is go into X camera, toggle it. We're going to disable the track IR. Now it's a static shot, guys. That's why I love X camera. You can do stuff really quick. So now it's a static shot. We got a nice static shot of the cockpit. Let's bring ourselves down slightly. And now we're in the back jump seat, and we can just see everything that's going on, and you get a little bit of view out there. Keyshawn Christopher says, why is it the Queen of the Skies? Keyshawn, that's because folks named it the Queen of the Skies because it is such a phenomenal flying machine, and the fact that for a while it held its title in the largest aircraft before the A380, or there's some other Russian aircraft like the Antovs that were bigger. But as far as the Boeing family was concerned, and I don't know who named it, but it's the Queen of the Skies because she was one of the larger aircraft from Boeing that was highly purchased, highly utilized, and it still is, in cargo renditions and passenger liveries. And Keyshawn says, I have heard some about it. So guys, the Bahama Islands, let's talk about it really quick. The Bahama Islands, known as the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, is a country...
We got a plant in there. 510, Naval. It's about 11 miles outside the runway. Around the...
All right, we got somebody reporting out, obviously. So, these Bahama Islands were initially inhabited by Lucayans, which is a branch of the Arawakan-speaking Taino. Now, the Taino are also natives of Puerto Rico. Borinquen and the Tainos are also natives of Puerto Rico. But however, this was obviously found by Columbus. And initially, the Bahama Islands were mostly deserted from 1513 until 1648, when English colonists from Bermuda settled on the island of Eleuthera. The Bahamas became a British crown colony in 1718 when the British clamped down on piracy. After the American Revolutionary War, the crown resettled thousands of American loyalists to the Bahamas. So believe it or not, this country gained governmental independence from Britain in 1973, led by Sir Lyndon. That's not that far ago, with Elizabeth II as its queen in terms of gross domestic product per capita. The Bahamas, now get this, the Bahamas is one of the richest countries in the Americas, following the United States and Canada, with an economy based on tourism and offshore finance, which means those offshore accounts that you see on all those mobster movies and all that stuff, that's the accounts that they're using. All right, Captain Geo says, yo, Captain Geo, what is crack-a-lackin'? Thanks for joining the stream. If you guys don't know, Captain Geo is also a content creator himself who does flight simulation, and his channel is growing. I had the chance to meet my boy in San Diego during Flight Sim Expo 2021. Let's see, Drew Stone says, Sakpase, so he must be talking to Captain Geo saying, what's up? And he says, Nabule, which I'm assuming says doing good. I don't know, but that's pretty cool that you guys are speaking French, as Captain Geo is Haitian. Greenlight Auto Broker says, sup Geo, and Greenlight, man, I hope you're doing well back there. Let's get a real quick look at the VATSIM scope, and let's see where everybody's at. All right, guys, let's bring in this VATSIM scope here quick. All right, so on the VATSIM scope, you can see here is Greenlight Auto Brokers here, flying, you know, to the northwest of us, obviously headed on his southeastern route. As promised, here we are getting ready to pass over the Bahamas right here, obviously, and here we are right here flying at a robust flight level 370. So we're doing good there. That is the route, and I don't see a whole lot of weather into the area. Let me turn this down slightly. All right, so looking good, and as you can see, passing Haiti and the Dominican Republic, no weather significantly, and here is our destination, which is ironically not too far from Princess Juliana and the Virgin Islands there. So that is what is crack-a-lacking. Captain Geo says, LOL, that's Haitian Creole, but you said the word right. Well, thank you, Geo. Jeffrey Degraff, welcome to the stream, welcome aboard. He says, what's up, Geo? And everybody's just greeting, and Drew Stone says, LOL, speaking French. Absolutely. LOL to that, it was actually Haitian Creole. So there we go. I love the culture on the channel. Let me know how those volumes you guys are doing for you guys. So, as promised, I definitely said that I'm going to show you some different things that you can do with this SSG Anniversary Edition from which I got from the xplane.org store. So let's get back up into this view here. So aircraft is doing well. We're at our cruise. The first thing I want to show you is about that fuel warning. With each Green Light Auto Broker says we definitely got that international thing going on. Yes, we do. And that's the way it should be. Look, guys, we know all the stuff going on here in this nation, the United States, white, black, gray, and indifferent. It doesn't matter. We're one race, the human race. That's it. My time in the military, well, I was born in Anchorage, Alaska. Just let that set in. Anchorage, Alaska in the 70s. Had a great childhood. It was all good there. Obviously, there was a little bit of racism that happened there, but you can't hold that in. You know, best thing about life is you live for now and the future. The past is a lesson, and we learn from that and use it for our memory database and what to do and what not to do. That's it. So we're one race, the human race. Now, this fuel here, yes, shared cockpit, Geo and Dre in ATS, American Truck Simulator. That'd be cool. So, remember we kept getting that fuel warning, and it kept saying we had insufficient fuel. And remember I kept telling you guys, no se preocupan de eso, or don't worry about it, because we don't. Let's go to our VNAV. So our VNAV is going to do a few things. Our top of descent, it's going to show our top of descent, and at what hours, Zulu. It's not the actual time, because in the sim I backed the time up. Thank you, love. Besito. All right, my London wife just gave me a little coffee, and so look at our fuel here. Let's go to the next page, and we can do it on the progress page. Actually, let's go to the progress page. Look at here. This is San Juan. This is the airport that we're going to arrive to. Check it out, guys. 24,000 pounds of fuel calculated. Now remember, our reserve fuel was 18, so we even have 6,000 pounds over 18. Gio be going hard on ATS. Yes, he does. I got to do some screens in American Truck Simulator too, but I've just been doing so much here with X-Plane 11 that it's hard to get back in there because I got to switch my controls up and everything, but I will. So just to prove to you guys, trust your flight plan. If you're using SimBrief and you're putting in all the information correctly, your cost index, flight level, airports, and all that stuff, then trust in the fuel measuring tool in there. It will give you the right fuel. Like I said, I think there's a little bit of glitchiness in the logic and how this thing plans for the fuel, but we're doing good. We got 24,000 pounds of fuel estimated on landing. Captain Rendog, I think I'm determined that I'm getting MS. So there's some chat stuff going on there. So you guys keep chatting it up, which I like to see, a busy chat. So that's cool. So in this feature, if you want to see, once you get to cruise, if you want to see your top of descent, it's not going to show you here yet. Now maybe if you go to the next page, so I'm in the progress page, you go to the next page, it's going to show you some different things in your heading here on your progress page. Fuel used, it's giving you the current wind, obviously, fuel quantity calculated, and the totalizer of the fuel that we have is right here at 54.3. Then you go to the last page. If I wanted to know the progress to a certain point, I could put it in right here. If you want to look at how your climb, cruise, and descent is going to go, click this VNav. I'm on the second page already, and in every page it will give you, except the first page, this is the climb. When you go to page 2, it's going to give you your top of descent. If there was any steps, meaning different altitude prerequisites for you to meet in your route, you would see that here. Here's the top of descent information, the time. This is the estimated fuel and the time getting into Luis Munoz Marin. Then of course, this is the optimal flight level, this is the max flight level, and this is the recommended flight level where we're at. And if you go to the next page, you can still see that our descent information, we are getting the first waypoint or restriction, which is Bino at 11,000. And so yeah, it gives you guys some awesome, and our end of descent altitude is 1600. So it gives you some great information here, guys. So definitely use these tools. And let's see. Yeah, so basically there's a conversation going on about Microsoft 2020. Greenlight Auto Broker says, Captain Rendog, if I may offer my opinion, X-Plane 11 offers better flight physics characteristics than Microsoft Flight Simulator. X-Plane 11 is used by FAA as a training device. So what he's basically saying, and keep in mind, Captain Rendog, Greenlight Auto Brokers is an actual pilot. He's been flying for over 25 years, I think maybe close to 30 years. So, I hold a lot of credence and credibility in what he's saying because he's an actual pilot. He gives great advice and offers his opinion respectfully and tactfully, so you take it for what it's worth, but he's definitely worth listening to when it comes to, if you want the realism, you want the best flight physics, X-Plane 11 is where it's at. That's where you get that real honest feedback of how you're doing as a sim pilot. So I love the fact that you guys are having information sharing within the chat. And Captain Rendog says, I see what you both mean. Absolutely. And again, this is just friendly advice, friendly recommendations. You always want to do what feels most comfortable to you when you're simming and learning. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing, guys. Now, why do I love the 777 and the 747 so much? Man, the logic on these is so awesome. Check this out, guys. So let me get my static display to something different here. So we're going to be looking at these monitors. Now, between this is an MFD. This is basically your lower ECAS, another MFD, if you will. and this is an MFD. You can a la carte what you want on these screens. So I'm going to leave my static screen here so that we can look at them. Okay, let's see, let's get maybe a little higher so we can see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to use this static screen, and Keyshawn Christopher says we all have to help each other. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. That's what it's about. That's what I like to hear. Now this is a nice little soft tune we're listening to. So check this out, guys. The first thing you want to notice is this L inboard, lower center, and right inboard. Okay, inboard, this is the outboard, this is the inboard. This is the outboard, this is the inboard. Okay, you can literally change these 3 screens to give information, to gain information that you want, depending on what you want to see. Okay, so let's say I wanted to go over my checklist, but I wanted to be looking out the cockpit or look at any of these different screens. The first thing I'm going to do is click this left inboard and make sure that's highlighted in green. Now from the left inboard, anything I touch over here is going to control this. Now keep in mind, never panic. If you're on the left inboard and sit to a screen, you want to know how to get back to the navigation screen, you are simply just going to click this nav right here. Okay, this is your ultimate screen for these 2 inboard, the first officer and the captain side, to get back to the nav screen. Okay, but you got to make sure it's highlighted for that side. So now let's say I want to see the checklist over here. Now that I've selected the left inboard, you just simply go check checklist. Oh yeah, look at that. Now I've got my checklist on this side. Captain Rendock says, well, be get off social media, otherwise I'll be grounded. I also have a football match saying in a European way because I'm from Portugal. So Captain Rendock, really quick, just to let you know, my dad's side of the family, we're a mixture of many things, but mostly Portuguese. My family is from Cape Verde, so Cabo Verde. So I am Portuguese as well too. Although I don't speak Portuguese, I speak fluent Spanish, and that's more or less from the Boricua side of things, where I know fluent Spanish, which helps out because I'm married to, my wife is Mexican, so we're able to teach our kids Spanish, obviously. So I have a lot in me, so that is awesome to know. Captain Rendog, have a great day. Thanks for joining the stream, and also nice to know that you're Portuguese as well. I'm Portuguese as well. Oh, still a coincidence. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So my grandparents on my dad's side were born in Cabo Verde, so Cape Verde. My dad, who's many things because of his mother and his father, was born in the South Bronx, New York, and was raised there. So that's awesome. And Greenlight is giving Captain Nate a big up. Back to this. So you guys see here that now we have our checklist over here. Now let's say you want to check anything else out, including the status page. You can put the status page here. Now it's mirrored in the center console. And while we're in cruise, you know, now let's say we want to use these 2 MFDs for gaining information so we're not looking down. What you can do is come over here and go back to the center. And now the nav feature is not, that's the only thing I like about it. The nav feature will not show up in the center. But anything else you want, let's say you want hydraulics down in the center, we got hydraulics. Let's say on the right screen, and we'll increase that range later, you want something different. You know, let's say we want to see how the pressurization is going. Now we can see all types of different information on 3 different screens, guys. You guys see that? I think that's pretty awesome. You know, Captain Rendog says, see you, looking forward to come here soon again. Absolutely, Captain Rendog. Good luck with your football match, and stay out of trouble, man. Don't get in trouble for being on social media. Thanks for joining the stream. So anyway, I just wanted to show those who have this aircraft that don't know about this, these functions can really help you out. And again, the only thing lacking, which in Flight Factor's 777, it will show the nav page at the bottom here. But you can definitely a la carte your information on different screens. And if you go to info for whatever reason, that will show up blank because there's nothing on the TCAT or the annunciator. If you hit cancel recall, you're just going to get recall on that one, so there's nothing that's going to show up. And yeah, you can also check fuel, see how that's going, as well as your electric, see how that's going. Bada bing, bada boom. So we've hit recall, we don't have any alerts, we're in the cruise phase. And we're at flight level 370. Everything is going great, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get our left inboard back to the nav. Bada bing, bada boom. And we'll keep the bottom on the status page. And we'll keep the right one on our pressurization page. There we go. And that, in a nutshell, is what kind of makes this aircraft really usable. Let's go to the back, guys. I just want to let you guys know there is an awesome cabin feature here as well. And we can walk around in this cabin and see what we got. So let's go to our X camera and let me disable the track IR. So we'll keep that disabled for now, and I can come back later and disable it so that I can show you guys around this cabin. I should be doing like product reviews and getting sponsored already in due time. Alright guys, so here is the, now remember this is the cargo edition. So I don't believe that the cargo hold is modeled, but we'll see. How we can just come here and look around. This is kind of where we were sitting at. You've got this little divider here, because you've got some storage space here. Here is the cockpit here with the curtains. So let's walk forward a little bit and we'll get a look. All right, Keyshawn Christopher says that is a nice view. I agree. Okay, so this is what the, remember I said we only have 8 people on, 2 in the cockpit and 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is where they are at. Now I've never tried going through this door, so I don't know if they actually modeled it or not. So I don't know what we're gonna see here. I don't know if they modeled the cargo bay. Duso says, damn, I consider myself a half and half myself, half white, half Hispanic, yet raised by West Indian women. Andrew, we are all mixed around, and I'm Afro-Latino. So hence the last name Sanchez. So, and I have Cherokee Indian in me from my mom's side. So, go figure. Go figure. My mom is African American and Cherokee Indian, and my dad is just a great mix of nationalities. On a 770 is cargo. So let's see what we get here. No promises on what we're going to see. We might see something janky here. Okay, so it looks like the cargo hold is modeled, so let's get down there. Remember the 747, we're up top. Ooh, look at all that cargo, guys. So remember, there's a lot of rollers in here, okay? So when you load these aircraft, they use a lot of rollers. So we right now, guys, are in the cargo hold, and it is modeled. And it is modeled, folks. Look at that. We're in the cargo hold right now, and you can see just how much cargo is on this aircraft right now. Let's turn around. Look at this thing fully loaded, guys. I mean, this is what we're transporting to the wonderful island of Puerto Rico. Just trying to get up the front to see if they have the controls modeled for the nose of the aircraft. Let's check it out, guys. That way, if you do purchase this aircraft, you know what to expect. And they didn't have this at first. They definitely did a model. Oh man, this is beautiful, guys. Look at the modeling on this thing. So we're actually at the nose of the aircraft right now. All right. Let's turn it around here. So it does have the controls modeled. This is what the load engineers deal with here. Now, if you guys have never seen a 747 cargo on the inside, this is what it looks like. And I'm going to explain what these tracks are. Obviously, you have This would be the main door here. This is where the flight crew walks in, and there's normally a ladder that's going to take them up. Oops. Let's get back to that view if we would. Okay. So there should normally be a ladder, and that's the flight crew walks in that door and goes straight up. I don't see it though. Anyway, so let's continue to look around this aircraft. Then we'll check how we're doing on our flight. So again, here's other controls here, and if we really want to be cool about things, not that somebody would be standing here on landing, but there's another little window right here that we can also look out of. So here's what the flight engineer and the load masters use in order to load this. I'm going to explain how they get these big boxes on here if you don't know, and maybe I'll see if I can find a YouTube video while we're in the air. So this nose comes completely up, okay? The nose of this aircraft comes completely up, and this is where those big, so from here you won't see this, the nose comes completely up, and then you've got these huge load carts on outside on hydraulics. They come up and they have rollers on there as well, and they're going to slide. Initially, these are actually, probably could do a better job, these are little wheels, little roller tracks right here. So it loads onto here, and using these controls over here, they control, it's almost like train tracks, they control which tracks they're going to go on to get loaded straight back. And then so once they get loaded straight back, okay, once they get loaded straight back, as you can see, these move, and it will direct it onto these. So these are all on rollers, and you can see that cargo just gets pushed all the way back. Obviously they usually have a great load sheet in order of what cargo is going on, because they also have to be cognizant and aware of what weights are where in the aircraft for the center of gravity, so that you know you're not tilted too much in the back or the rear, so you want to get that center of gravity where it goes. But this is the actual cargo that we're carrying on over to Puerto Rico. Let's go back up. In real flight or flight sim, all planes have its own flight recorder. That is correct. That is correct. So let's get this static view better now that we're not looking at that anymore. Alright, and we'll look and see how we are doing. And I might step out for a bathroom break. So we have 447 nautical miles to top of descent, which is a time of 1901 Zulu. So if we come up top, let me see if my static display will show it. So if we come up top, that gives us about, let's see, what did it say, 1836 Zulu, and this is saying 1901 Zulu. That's actually pretty quick. So it's calculating that we're going to start our top of descent in 1901 Zulu, which means this is at 1836. That's in about 25 minutes, guys. So it's not, it's saying it's not that far to get there. I'm not quite sure if that even sounds accurate, but it is what it is. We've been cruising for quite some time now. So in real life or flight sim, all planes have its own flight recorder. We said, right, I'm going to keep flying for you. I'm going to keep flying for you. Go still. All right. Keyshawn must mean I'm going to keep flying with you, so go still, I guess. Yes, it's going to be a small little bathroom break. Captain's discretion. I'm using the restroom. While I do it, you guys can definitely hold it down on the flight deck there. Let me see where green light is at on the scope. Okay, green light is cooking. He's already past the Bahamas. And our next big island system, which is a little ways to go, is Turks and Caicos. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then as we get closer to Puerto Rico, I actually don't need any Wikipedia to help me with that one. That's all up here. I'll give you guys a little bit of history of how Puerto Rico came about to be Puerto Rico now. All right, so Here's our top of descent. So again, it's mirroring the VNAV indication of our top of descent. It's over 320 nautical miles, but we'll keep the range right here. And we are doing good, guys. We're doing good here. So let's see if I can find a non-profit. We don't want to copyright anybody that's let's see, free flights for all. You know, I don't know I'm going to do it because I don't want to get any copyright issues if I show someone else's YouTube video in here. Let's see if we can find a picture. All right. We look at images here. Kind of found one here. Let's see how big we can make it. All right, so this is what the cargo hold looks like of an actual 747. Like I said, the the load master is going to use this to get all these pallets. See the little rollers right here? Get all those pallets pushed back to the rear of the aircraft. And then we can go back and look at another picture that I found. Let's see. Okay. Let us just take a quick picture of this. This is Atlas Air. I've definitely flown Atlas Air before. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want you. So there you go, guys. This is what it looks like with that nose up. And here's that little load lift mechanism with rollers on that I was telling you about. This is where the flight crew enters. There's a cargo door in the back there. So yeah. So this is kind of the type of, you know, loadout that we have going on right there, in case you were unfamiliar with what it actually looks like when it loads up. So that's pretty slick. All right, just getting rid of some of those screens. All right, guys, we're flying right along. Not a whole lot happening. We got top of descent here in a little bit. So with that being said, it is going to be a little bit of break time for me. I'm going to go use the restroom, hydrate, check on a few things. I should be back between 5 to 8 minutes here. So why don't you guys just cruise right along here, take care of the cockpit for me, and I shall return shortly, folks. Alright guys, I am back. Let me check the comments and then I'll show you some of my flight crew here who definitely wants to say hello. They've been running around, hair's all messed up, but I said, you know what? You guys are always supporting, so you can be seen. Alright guys, so here is some of the flight crew that wants to be seen. Alright, first you guys saw her the other day. This is my youngest daughter. Say hi.
Hi everybody.
Say, I'm the flight engineer. Alright, that's one. Her older brother. Hang on, let me do something really quick guys. So let me fix the camera here. I just take it off autofocus. Otherwise the camera is going to keep trying to focus on us. Alright, here's one of my other sons. One of 6. Dile hi.
Hi.
Dile ¿cómo estás? Alright, perfect. There you guys go. Watch your step as you exit the cockpit area. High five, and you don't have to close the door all the way, just pull it up. Thank you. Love you. Alright guys, so that was Green Light says hi there little ones. That was 2 of 6, and those are the 2 youngest. 2 12s, basically 19 gonna be turning 20-year-old and a 23-year-old. Plus my wife and a cat makes up the Sanchez clan, of course. And Green Light, I know you're doing well back there. I just checked you out on the scope. Let's see where we are in relation to Turks and Caicos. Okay, so we're approaching them. Turks and Caicos. And we'll get a little bit of understanding about who they are. Turks and Caicos. Let's learn a little about the island, then we'll show where it's at. So Turks and Caicos is a British overseas territory, much like the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, or Puerto Rico, which are commonwealths with the United States. So they have their own governor, but they do not vote for the president of the United States unless they become residents of the continental United States, including Alaska and Hawaii. And at that point, they can vote for the president. However, they are born citizens. The Turks and Caicos Islands were inhabited for centuries by native Amerindian peoples. They first recorded European sighting of the islands occurred in 1512. In the subsequent centuries, the islands were claimed by several European powers, with the British Empire eventually gaining control. For many years, the islands were governed indirectly through Bermuda, the Bahamas, and Jamaica. When the Bahamas gained independence in 1973, the islands received their own governor and have remained a separate autonomous British overseas territory since. So they're not sovereign of Britain. Obviously, they're a territory, but they got their own governor around the same time that the Bahamas, which we just talked about, gained their governmental independence in 1973. So, yeah, kind of interesting there to always learn about these wonderful islands that you hear. As far as their gross domestic product, they don't really say anything about that. It goes into earlier history, and yeah, I'm sure tourism is extremely high there. And you know, my curiosity would be, are they born British citizens? Which I'm pretty sure they are, but I don't know. You know, so that'd be one question that I have. But we'll get rid of that. I'm a bad kid. Daquan. Dre here from Barbados. What's good? Hey, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're not a bad kid. I think you're a good kid. I'm bad kid Daquan. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for the support. Yes, and we are definitely in your neck of the woods there, so appreciate that. Hey guys, if you haven't already, sub to the channel, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button and share it out. And hey, I'll keep this flight actually comes as a request of 2 subscribers. And of course we have Greenlight Auto Brokers. I have somebody flying with us, so if you guys want to go to any of the VATSIM scopes like VATtastic or VATaware or VATspy, you can check out. I've got Greenlight Auto Brokers who will be frequenting on my channel. We can just say it's our channel, Greenlight. Who is actually flying with me. I'm just gonna call you N Bad Kid, but I'm a bad kid. I'm bad kid. Daquan says, what part are you flying to? So we are flying from Miami International, which obviously we've been en route here for 50 minutes and 24 seconds. You can see right here on our flight timer, 60 minutes. So we've been in the air an hour. And we are headed to San Juan, Puerto Rico in this, here, I'll give you guys a little flyby in this Boeing 747-8 Foxtrot. This is what we look like traveling over the Caribbean, El Caribe. Woo, look at her go, boy. She's nice. You guys want to see the flight modeling again too as well. I also did a walk around the cargo hold and the passenger cabin. We're flying a UPS livery. Worldwide services is what we're doing here, folks. Back on board, you guys can see we are definitely reeling in our top of descent. We have, man, this thing is cooking right along. Our ground speed right now is 486 knots. Do you guys remember when we checked the winds aloft in the flight planning stage at the beginning of the video? You can see it is exactly that. We're getting winds from the west, basically at 33 knots, pushing us off of our right wing. Now, you can also see that in the yaw of the aircraft. So when aircrafts yaw, they yaw like this, but they really fly a straight line, and that's to basically take care of those winds. So let's check this out, guys. Look here. This arrow is reflective of where the winds and the speeds are coming from. Now look at the aircraft. It is basically flying a little right of its 12 o'clock position to compensate for those winds. See that? So it's like this even though we're going in a straight line. Okay, that's called a yaw. Alright guys, so we're doing well. Let's check the comments here. And Keyshawn is asking, I am from Trinidad side. Okay, so he's from Trinidad and Tobago side of Barbados. And Keyshawn Christopher says, which one of you still playing Steam Edition? Steam is great. I got my American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator on the Steam Edition. And I'm a bad kid. Daquan says he is east of St. Vincent, down in that area. And my lovely wife says she is beautiful, and she is referring to the Boeing 747 that we're cruising along. As always, babe, thanks for your comments and support. I was just out there and thanking her for the, it's not a coffee, it's a Pepsi. That she brought me, and went out there and had a bite of pizza and took my bathroom break. Look at that, guys. We do have some visibility. So we are currently, let me show you real quick. We are currently passing over Turks and Caicos Island right here, guys. So that's the history. We just talked about it. We know it's a British territory, that it got its governor around the same time the Bahamas got their governmental independence, which is 1973. Not that long ago, guys. You know, not that long ago. So there's Turks and Caicos. Once we pass that, we will then be passing off of the eastern border of the Dominican Republic and the landmass of Haiti and the Dominican Republic as a shared island. And then, of course, on down into San Juan, Puerto Rico. I'm a bad kid. Daquan says, can I suggest a flight? Absolutely. This flight we're doing now is based off a request from 2 of my subscribers. One subscriber requested that I fly to Puerto Rico, so we're flying to Puerto Rico from Miami. The other subscriber requested I fly the 747. So here we are. Ironically, either of those two are on the stream, but if they requested, I will say, now I did a video based off your guys' requests. So absolutely, you can request. I do honor requests. So what flight are you suggesting, my friend? Please let me know. Captain Geo says he is back. Welcome back, Captain Geo. Just to let you guys know, if you do want to step away, our top of descent here, current time right now in the sim is 1836 Zulu, and our top of descent is scheduled for 1901 Zulu. So look at that. We are just plane is cooking, man. We are just knocking these miles down. So we've got about it was 36, boom, so we got about 25 minutes or so. to get to our descent. So if you want to step away, time to do it. And he is saying a flight from JFK to, it looks like TBPB. Let's see here. What is TBPB? And I've never heard of that airport. TBPB. Okay, so TBPB is Bridgetown Grantley. Alright, so they've got an 11,000 feet runway with the passenger terminal. Bridgetown, Barbados, Grantley Adams International. Alright, let me write this flight down. So I'm not promising that it will be the next flight, but because that's a pretty long jump. But I am going to put on there JFK, so we'll be taking a 777 or something, to TBPB, and this was requested by Bad Kid. There we go. Alright guys, it's official. We're checking out to see what requests we can fulfill. So we just got another one. And again, I'm not promising that it will be the actual next flight. I will make concessions to do that flight eventually, guys. Let's see. What up, Barbados? We have stairs instead of gates. It says they have stairs instead of gates there. So it's like much other countries. They call them stands. So you pull in and they bring the stairs and stuff out and you exit the aircraft physically on the outside. Hey guys, if you're just joining the stream, do me a favor. Smash that sub button. Give me a sub. Like the channel, or like the stream and the channel if you will, and share it out for me. I'm trying to grow this thing so that we can continue to have fun here together and get more, obviously, awesome chat going on every flight that we take. So guys, we are cruising right along. For those who missed it, let's go back and check. I took us into the cargo hold. This is the cargo hold of this aircraft. And Captain Geo says, "Brah, I'm 3 subs away from 900. Hey Geo, you doing it. Hey, if you guys don't know, Captain Geo is also a content creator. Go to his channel. His handle is Captain, so CPT space GIO. And go sub to his channel as well. He does American Truck Simulator, Microsoft 2020, I believe, and obviously X-Plane 11. He's a great pilot. And he actually just did a great, Gio, that was a nice approach that you did the other day, you know, through that mountain system. And man, you came in and you had a great landing in that aircraft. He was flying an Airbus, I think. Gio says, Gio, you want that sub? And coming back, Daquan says, what do you think of X-Plane 12? I think X-Plane 12 is going to be phenomenal. All of the X-Planes have been phenomenal thus far. X-Plane 10, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, yeah, we are definitely going to be subbing everyone's channel, and we're excited about X-Plane 12, guys. So, for those that you guys weren't here, this is the cargo hold of the 747-8 Foxtrot, or freighter, and it's full. I mean, we could walk this thin line, but it's a full cargo area. And as you can see, spinning around, these are the controls. This is the nose of the aircraft, so you definitely don't want to be caught with this door open right now. We will be sucked out. And here's some more controls over here. Now, it's funny they didn't model where the flight crew walks up in here, which is strange. Okay, here it is right here. So this is the ladder where the flight crew boards right here. So they come in the door and they immediately go straight up. And I'm not quite sure during an actual flight. I'm assuming maybe they would bring the ladder up. But nonetheless, this is where the ladder comes down and the flight crew boards and goes straight up into a very steep ascent into the passenger area, which leads to the cockpit, guys. I just want to show you guys what you're working with. If this is the SSG anniversary edition of the Boeing 747 It's got some passenger liveries as well as plenty of cargo ones. Captain Geo says, thanks, brother. Of course, absolutely. Yep, yesterday flew into Paro with a butter. He got a butter. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my Airbus controls back up, and I'm going to do that one too, Geo. So, man, you and Shaq, you guys be doing some cold approaches. So I appreciate y'all for keeping it interesting. So that's what we're going to do. I think on my next stream, I'm going to fly from Big Bear here in Southern California, which is an awesome takeoff, to Catalina Island, and then maybe back to Big Bear doing tourist shuttles. A lot of tourists come to Southern California. They want to do so much. The Queen Mary, they want to do Santa Monica Pier, they want to do Dago, they want to do a bunch of stuff. But they also want to go to Big Bear, which is a ski resort. So they have these little charter flights to go between Catalina Island and Big Bear and all the other touristic areas. So maybe we'll fly like it, but we got to fly something that can get in there, because Catalina Island is a very short runway. And Green Light Auto Brokers, who's actually flying with us, has a buddy that has a general aviation aircraft, and I think when he does his actual next real flight, because he's got to keep some flying hours to keep all his ratings, I think he said that they're going to fly into Catalina. So I'm going to be definitely picking his brain and asking him how that went. I'm sure that's going to be quite fun. All right, guys, so this is the cargo hold in case you missed it earlier on the stream. Let's go into the passenger cabin area. This is the passenger cabin area, and we are on the right side. And as you can see, we did have our view set up over here on the left side, but since then we don't have that view because I used that view to go downstairs. But this is the passenger cabin. Like I said, it is modeled pretty well, but we'll stay here, so when we do our flight replay, this will probably be the window that we look out of. And we're going to be landing to the east. That'll put the airport to the right, so we'll be able to see us landing and get onto the airport area. And once we get to San Juan, Daquan says the blessed plane out is the A321 Neo LR, and I'm assuming, is that for 2020, or are you referring that's the best plane for X-Plane? Look, guys, we're right at about 160 nautical miles plus a few until we start our descent. Then we can get right into our descent checklist. Let's go ahead now and start checking our information here. All right, APU is off, of course. Oil quantity, So you can see that airport map database, I was right, is from February 7th to March 6th of 2020. So the airport database is pretty much up to date. Let's see. Oops. We'll leave this there. Don't forget, you got to switch this for the data page that you want. We're selecting the center. And let's see what this checklist entails. It's not much on the descent. Descent checklist: recall, notes checks, auto brake, landing data, and approach briefing. So we won't do anything with that right now. Let's obviously double check our fuel. Fuel is looking good. They're all evenly being distributed out of those tanks. Total fuel we have right now, which matches our information, is 37,000 pounds of fuel on board. The calculated arrival fuel into San Juan is now, it was 24, but it went up to 25,800 pounds. So if we were to divert and go somewhere else, we definitely have enough fuel to do that. Raekwon says, I have a question. What is the best, American or JetBlue? Raekwon says, I got a question. Okay, he's repeated it. And Captain Geo says, JetBlue. I've never actually flown on JetBlue in real life. I've only flown on American and other various ones. And Raekwon says, you done know, Geo. So I don't know if he's meaning you done now or you done know, Geo. But there you go. Got some opinions being shared there. Alright guys, so we're about an hour and 14 minutes into the flight. Scheduled flying time is 2 hours and 6 minutes, so we're keeping right on track, of course. And so if we calculate an hour and 15 minutes from takeoff, right? So takeoff, let's say if we're looking for a 2-hour flight, we would back this up to 17. So this would have started at 17:23. 17:23, right? That would be the 2-hour mark since we just added the time there. We just added basically what's calculated as a 2-hour flight. So 17:23 should have been when we took off and started the clock. We're an hour and 15 minutes into there. So hour and 15 minutes from 7:23, that's about right. So give or take 18:55 Zulu. And we're due to touch down at 19:29. So we're going to be, that's literally going to be 2 hours and 6 minutes right on the dot. So we'll see if we keep that, and we're definitely going to know that because we did hit our chronometer. So please remind me once I get off the runway to extinguish the chronometer. Now let's look at some things, guys, that is very important to our well-being on our landing, because landing, you gotta be very, this is a large aircraft, guys. There's not a lot of room for bad approaches in this thing. You wanna, if your approach is not stable in this thing, do a go around. We got plenty of fuel to do it. So the weather in Puerto Rico is looking good. Let me just check that again, and then we'll start looking at a chart really quick here. All right, guys. So the weather in Puerto Rico, according to FlightAware, still reflecting a runway 8 landing. The winds are at 100 degrees at 6 knots, so super easy landing there. 10 miles of visibility. It is VFR. The current temperature there is 226 Celsius with a dew point of 24 degrees. And the altimeter is 29990. So what we can do now is you can already pre-put 29990 in here, and then we'll double check that again as we get a little closer. Now, what we need to do is double check the landing runway distances and all that good stuff. So let's go back over the plan, guys. It's all about the planning and staying ahead of the aircraft. So guys, we're going to be landing here at a heading of 78 on our final approach into the San Juan area. The runway is 10,400 feet. That's not a very long runway for a Boeing 747 cargo edition, freight edition. So I'm going to probably land at 4 on the auto brake, because I really want to try to make this Sierra 7. And I checked, there is no, see, airport information continued. There are no specific notes about 747 taxiing. There's no, which there should be. I'm not even sure if 747s actually land here. I'm sure there's some large cargo aircraft, but I'm not quite sure about A380s. And I'm pretty sure 380s land here from other places in the country, but don't quote me on that. Anyhow, this is the international airport. As you can see, it's got immigration right here. So large aircrafts do land here because they're coming from transatlantic flights, Caribbean flights, Gulf of Mexico, and all that stuff. So we're going to land on 8. Our goal is to make S7 at the latest. S6 preferably, highly doubtable if I do a long landing. Unless I hit those runway blocks on time and get her slowed down, that's very, plus we got the auto brakes going to be set to 4. If not, the plan is to pass all that if we haven't slowed down to a reasonable ground speed to make the turn. We'll slow it down even more. We'll use this little area down here to do a little turnaround. We're going to come back on Sierra Taxiway. We are going to make a left turn on November, and we are parking here. So this is actually the cargo ramp, one of the cargo ramps. I'm sure these are too, the apron 6 and 7, but we are coming right here, right off of November for our taxi. So that's the runway length, and provided if we got ATC on board, let's take a look at how that would affect our arrival here into the San Juan area. Again, we'll be descending via the Beano 3. There's only really 2 restrictions other than staying on the RNAV flight path. That's always a prerequisite of flying a star or standard terminal arrival. But we got Beano at 11,000 with no specific speed, and then we have Milet above 6,000. So this is right at 11,000. This will be at least above 6,000. Okay, and then from over Beano on track 140 to Milet, and then on track to Weston at 154. That is actually what's already in the CDU or FMC. Then we go right into our approach. Right here from the initial approach fix of Wesson, we're going to do a left turn, pick up a heading of 78, which is our final approach heading. And then from there, we step it down from 3,200 feet to 24 to 16, which, as you saw on our VNav, is the bottom of our vertical navigation descent. And then we're on that glide slope, 3 degrees down, 78 degrees on the heading for our touchdown zone here. And the elevation is 9 degrees, or 9 feet as you were. So that's our planning. It's very important to do that. Obviously, we also want to take into consideration our missed approach. So on the missed approach, we are going to climb to 2,000 feet, a continued left climbing turn to 3,000 on a 320 heading for the San Juan VUR. There's the VUR frequency, and it's off the radio 004. So we come off here. Here's the San Juan VUR here. You just take that, you do that left climbing turn to 3,000. Then you pick up this radio here, which basically has you going direct to Didi, and that's where your hold is at. So, and it looks like it is a standard hold. So we can probably do a parallel join. We can come up right here, do a 180 to heading 104 back to Didi, and then we'll be in the pattern, doing a standard pattern here. Binga says hi, how you doing, Binga? Thanks for joining the stream. Keyshawn says I'm back now, came out and eat some and came back. And Binga says hi. And Binga says say hi back. All right, Binga. Well, I'm saying hi back, Binga. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the support. Thanks for always checking in. So there you go. All right, guys. So it looks like we have our descent all calculated, which we're getting super close to it. We got about 6 minutes to descend. Go back to our VNav. So, we gained a minute. So 1900 Zulu, and it is currently 1855. So we only have 5 minutes to descend, guys. So what I'm going to do now, remember the bottom of our descent was basically 1,600 feet. But yeah, we'll do 1,600 feet for now. So what we're doing now, folks, we're going to get the MCP all set up for our arrival. The vertical navigation is already in there, so we'll just double check and we'll let the aircraft do its thing. We've already pretty much observed what the weather is, which we'll obviously be checking again as things can change. Now what we can do, we're going to stop at 3,200, which is the altitude for our initial approach fix, and then we'll readjust from there. So if you come over here, we got Beano at 11,000. We got Wesson at above 3,200 to 210. And then here's our final altitude at 1,600 at Patty, which is where we'll definitely start our final approach into San Juan area. All right, Binga says I just put your stream in the background because I'm doing my own flight. Well, thank you for doing that, Binga. Appreciate you. Binga, where are you flying to? And what are you flying? And in what sim? 3 questions. Where are you flying to? What aircraft are you flying? And what sim? So now what I want to do is I'm just going to start getting the final approach heading in there. Actually, you know what? I may do some vectoring for our turn to Wesson, because it looks like it's kind of a sharp turn. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there, but we'll just get on our present heading just in case. So the MCP is set up. Now let's go ahead and set up our V-speed so we can do the descent checklist. So guys, today we're landing at flaps 30. Now I'll double check. There's our final approach course heading of 78 degrees, ILS 8, and that is the correct ILS frequency. good thing about this plane is it automatically does it for you once you program the runway in. It pulls up that information. But you always want to double check that on your Jeppesen approach chart as well. Now we're going to basically get this back on the checklist. Alright, so we got to check the recall. I showed you guys where recall is at. Recall is on the first officer side, and it's right here. Cancel recall. It says recall, and then you hit it again. That'll cancel itself out. There we go. So recall has been checked. The notes are in. We checked everything at the airport. Our star, which is our standard terminal arrival, and we checked how we're landing on the runway, what orientation we are, and how we're taxiing back over to the cargo ramp. Auto brakes are going to be set for 4 because it's a pretty short runway for this weight. And the landing data, the VREF and minimums are all in there. Approach briefing is complete. And then that's for the approach. So we will leave it there, guys. Look at that. We are wrapping in this, or reeling in our top of descent, guys. So everything's about to start happening really quick. Now, on your minimum altitudes, okay, this one has radio altimeters and barrel altimeters. If we simply want to tell the aircraft to be 200 feet above the actual ground level, or AGL, you can use radio, and the touchdown elevation is 9, but for whatever reason in this aircraft the decision height is 311. So because that elevation is so low, the decision height here is 311. So because it's decision height of 311, we'll just use the barrel. If that's the radio, but we don't want to do that. Let me see how okay, there we go. So now we're going to change it to barrel, and we are going to put it for 311. Which basically it's 310. So we've got radio at 200, barrel at 310, which if you look on your approach chart, that is, the decision height is 311, so that'll give us our call outs for our minimums so that we know whether we're going to land and commit to it or whether we're going to do a missed approach. Alright, Dave McKee. Alright, let's get back to here and see. Benga says, I'm just put your stream in. Okay, Keyshawn Quitcher says, I want to see how good you be landing the 747, Captain. We're going to see, Keyshawn. And Dave McKee says, FS 2020 Macau High-Tech PMG DC-6 Bravo. Is that what he's flying? Is that what you're responding for, Benga, Dave? Or is that what you're flying? I know Dave likes those tail draggers, baby. Alright, I'm just going to see if I can go to Dave's channel. Dave McKee does have a channel. I thought I had subscribed, Dave. I just did. Dave McKee does have a channel, and he's got quite a lot of videos on his channel, guys. So Dave does his own flight sim. He does his own videos, and you guys should check it out. So if you guys are in the stream, please subscribe to Dave McKee's channel. And Dave says what I'm flying, of course, LOL. So guys, subscribe to Dave McKee's channel as well. He also gives us a lot of real world knowledge. So you see his handle there. It's just name Dave space McKee, Mike, Charlie, Kilo, Echo Echo. And he also is correcting me. Also, DC-6 is not a tail dragger. So there you go. Not a tail dragger, guys. Let me see what a DC-6 looks like, because I'm not quite familiar. Okay. Dave, is that the same aircraft that they flew in that Flight of the Phoenix with Dennis Quaid? It almost looks like that same aircraft that he was flying in Flight of the Phoenix. If anybody's seen that, great movie. So everybody, this is what Dave McKee is flying right here. All right, he's got 4 engines there. And yeah, it looks like an older passenger airplane. Looks pretty slick. Thanks for sharing that with us, Dave. That's what Dave is flying, and don't make the same mistake I said. It is definitely not a tail dragger. Dave says, thanks for the shout out, Dre. Much appreciated. Of course, Dave, man. That's what it's all about. I'm just mad at myself I didn't do it before. Dave McKee says, Junkers. I've been flying a lot lately. A lot. Late is a tail dragger. Junkers, I've been flying a lot. No idea. Never seen that movie. Yes, Dave, watch that movie. It's Flight of the Phoenix. It's with Dennis Quaid, and I want to say it came out somewhere in the 2000s. Great movie, very good movie. And I believe that's what he flies in the movie. So check it out, Dave. It's a very good movie. I'm not going to spoil it at all. But they got some great acting in there, great actors, good suspense in there. So definitely check that movie out, guys. All right, guys. Everything's about to happen for real. So we have our V speeds, our ILS, and our final approach course verified. Top of descent, guys, 18 nautical miles. So here we go. All right, guys. You know what time it is. We are going to get the music off now because it is time for action here. We're going to be starting our descent into the Puerto Rico area. So we are descending on the Beano 3. So once we leave flight level 370, we will go ahead and make our call outs, guys. And then it is action time. Of course, we have Keyshawn Christopher wanting to see how we landed. So we'll do our best job to get the best landing for you guys here on board. The winds, of course, guys, are out of the east at 100 degrees, 6 knots. So our landing speed, roughly, guys, based off of our calculated page here, will be roughly 160, 161. Remember, this aircraft is heavier, so it requires more speed to create that lift over and under the wings. So you got it. You're going to be coming in a lot faster in this thing. So I recommend to everyone to actually fly this thing by hand, figure it out. I'm just getting the flight controls on now because sometimes I do forget, and I don't want to be remiss in that. You guys have been doing such an awesome job of supporting me and hanging out on this stream. I definitely don't want you guys to miss flight controls this time. Dave McKee says, not a DC-6, it's a Fairchild 82 Alpha. Okay, so he looked at the movie. So it's a Fairchild 82 Alpha. Let's look at that aircraft. Fairchild 82. And Dave, man, you're putting me on game. I have this older aircraft. I don't even know the names of that. Let's see. Let's go with images. Now, I think there's 2 flights of Phoenix, so you got to find the one with Dennis Quaid. I don't think he flew this one. Maybe that's the original Flight of the Phoenix. Yeah, so that's got to be from the original Flight of the Phoenix. Let me put... Flight of the Phoenix, Dennis Quaid. Okay, guys, real quick, let me do something here. San Juan traffic and surrounding traffic. UPS 318 Heavy is out of flight level 370, now descending via the Bean 3 arrival, expecting full stop ILS 8 for San Juan and surrounding traffic. Alright, guys, we made our call out. Okay, so let's look at images here. Really want to get an image of this plane. Okay, this is probably the best image I have for you, Dave. Okay, it's saying play trailer. No, I don't want to play trailer. I want to look at this picture. All right, Dave. This is the actual movie. So they got two of them. This is the remade one. This is what he flies in the remade one here. So definitely, yeah, it wasn't even the other aircraft. I thought this is what he flies in the remake. This movie came out in 2004, Flight of the Phoenix, and it looks like something you would like to fly, Dave. So there you go. That's what I'm referring to. Love that movie. Matter of fact, I might even load that movie up tonight and watch it, man. That's just a great movie to watch. The original has James Stewart. I would watch that over the Dennis Quaid one any day. Got you. I love Dennis Quaid, and I also love James Stewart's old acting back in the day, so I'll watch both. Anyway, guys, we are on our descent into the San Juan area. We have started that, obviously, and let me go ahead and double check where my good friend and pilot there is. Let me throw it up on the screen there. Alright, guys, Green Light Auto Brokers, man, he's on our tail. He's right here. He's right here. And yeah, we are cruising right along. This is our destination. They got 4 arrivals coming in. Obviously, we'll probably be there first. I don't see any other aircraft on the scope. So basically what I'm going to try to do is get down, taxi, and once I hear him coming in, wherever we're at, we'll stop, we'll get outside, and we'll try to see him coming in. Not quite sure what runway he's going to come in, but I have selected runway 8, so there's also another eastern runway, or yeah, a little bit more southeastern than this one, because it'll be runway 10. So there you guys go. Here's where we're at. We have started our descent. We should be on the ground momentarily. And we're doing good, guys. The aircraft is managing its speed. So far, we don't need to give it any help. Dave McKee says modern movie is also a Fairchild C119. Got you. So that's a Fairchild C119 in the modern movie, guys. We are descending down into San Juan area, of course. And boom, I got to get my stars, everything pulled back up. Beano at 11,000, Milet above 6,000. Those are the only 2 prerequisites on any type of speed or altitude restrictions. There's no speed restrictions, there's altitude restriction, and those are only 2 points. We've already looked at that approach plate, so I will not go over that again. Another thing to note in this aircraft, it's going to ask you to arm the speed brakes. Well, if you try to arm the speed brakes in this aircraft, it doesn't arm. It's already in the arm position, so don't let that fool you on the checklist. There's Beano. So we do have Beano in sight on our MFD. Alright, guys. Another thing we're going to pay attention to now. Now, I like to do it once we deploy the gear in here. We're also going to put that landing gear screen on, because I have had several malfunctions. Everything looks good here. The anti-skids are set. They've got the limiters going on here, so brake temperature, tire pressure is what we're going to be monitoring, of course. And the gear doors right now are closed. All right, see, we're going back to idle. Man, we're descending pretty quick here. We should be hearing green lights, descent call outs when he gets there as well, if we're close enough. Again, there's no air traffic control on, so we're just going to stay on the Unicom frequency, folks. Boy, she's smoking down. She's ready to sit down somewhere. She's ready to rest her weary wings. You can assure an aircraft of this type has been in flight circulation for quite a bit. So guys, I hope you guys understand the difference of the radial and the barrel. The barrel is if you are actually going to put the actual altitude according to the height. You guys can see we're getting a little bit of rain here. Let's make sure our window heats and everything are on. Let's see, anti-ice, everything looks good. I'm not going to put the windshield wipers on yet, but the anti-ice is already on, so we don't have to worry about any surfaces being over frozen. Alright, since X-Plane is not running in real time because your frame rate is less than 20 FPS, X-Pilot will automatically disconnect in 19 seconds if not corrected. Wow, that's strange. Never heard of that before. Let me see what I'm getting on my stream. And of course, maybe because of that weather we got disconnected. We'll try to reconnect here in a second, so no worries about that. I think it's the rain here doing it. Let's see how it looks when I pan around. Yeah, it looks good enough to me. We'll try to reconnect here in a second. That's the first time I've ever gotten that that message there. So we're back on. As long as we get that message, we'll keep doing it. But I've never ever received that before, so we are definitely back on the VATSIM server. Alright guys, so we are descending down into the San Juan area currently. We've got our first altitude restriction at 11,000. Of course, you can see that 3,200 is set up to match up for this turn, which is a pretty sharp turn. You guys can hear that thunder. So we are getting a bit of weather. The frames must have dropped really quick for whatever reason, but and see guys, this is why earlier I can't remember who was asking me about what computer to get, but this is why you want an i7 above or higher for X-Plane, because if you have any other type of weather in here, it is definitely going to drop your frame rate. Alright, Drew Stone, as always, montón de gracias a ti, papá, por darme a meter. Thank you for giving us the meter. San Juan's meter right now, 10 minutes ago. Wind is 150, 5 knots. Visibility is 10 static miles. Light rain, as you can see. Clouds scattered at 3,300 feet. Scattered clouds also at 6,500 feet. And scattered clouds at 8,000 feet. Temperature is 27 degrees. Dew point is 24 degrees Celsius. Altimeter is 2992. That makes it much easier. So we'll keep our landing speeds aren't going to change. Alright, so let's fix that altimeter presetting, which we're already in it. It's at the standard altimeter setting now. Yep, and FlightAware is reflecting that as well. So once we get right around Wesson, we're still going to have some clouds because Wesson is at 3,200 feet, according to the meter that we just got. We have some scattered clouds at 3,300 feet, so we are going to have a bit of clouds coming in there, guys. You can see that rain is kicking up. All right, guys. Let me see. I think I see my phone flashing here. Oh, it was still on. That's why. All right, folks. It's getting real now. We're getting into some weather. Now the rain is not reflected off the windshield. Let me see. In options, does it allow us? Yeah, it doesn't allow. There's no rain effects on here, which I'm not mad at. See how that's already telling us again because the rain picked up. So we'll probably get disconnected, but we'll reconnect back, and it might stop. Probably not, but we're gonna keep rolling. And there we go. I'll wait to get more out of this rain and then we'll reconnect. Green light. Once we get out of this rain, we'll reconnect here to see if the frames are good. But right now, those frames are suffering. But the stream is doing well and in the sim is doing well. So, okay, guys, we can go ahead and go into our altimeter of 299.2, which ironically this time happens to be the same as our barrel settings or altimeter settings. Alright guys, we're going to try to reconnect. And what I'm noticing is it says that right away once it starts raining again. So I think there's a drop in the FPS due to the rain coming in, and it spikes and then it goes normalized because right now we're definitely back on. Anyway, so again, as I was saying, the difference between the radio and the barrel, where the radio is radar. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to set your minimums if you're using radio based off of the radar bouncing off the ground and giving you actually AGL 200 feet above. In this case, we're using the barrel because we don't want 200 feet above, which I could probably put the radio for 310 as well, but we're doing the barrel, the actual one, which is on the decision height on the chart, and I believe Greenlight called it the data strip. Will give us the correct decision height, which in this case is 310. So we have that set. That is all set up. We've already witnessed our missed approach. So here's our missed approach. We would literally just follow this. You know, like we said, climb up to 2,000, left turn, basically direct to DD up to 3,000 and then into a hold. That's kind of what we're doing. We're going to keep our initial ref on this side because now what I'm thinking about doing, and I'll show you guys once we get a little, well, let me do it now. So I'm not quite sure if I like this very sharp left turn, but I think I'm going to leave it. That way we don't add any more time to our route. I'm going to leave it to still give us, that's why we're slowing to 210. So we'll make a nice slow turn at Wesson, activate the localizer and the approach mode once the localizer is captured, and do it that way. So we'll be right here prior to Wesson at 3,200 feet, which Wesson requires us to be at 3,200 feet, guys. And we are doing well. So let's get that range back to where it makes sense for us. San Juan traffic, UPS 318 heavy, is currently at 12,800 feet, descending via the Beam 3, expecting full stop ILS 8 for San Juan traffic. Alright guys, so we've made our call out now that VATSIM has, VATSIM has allowed us to log in. The plane is dancing around a little bit. So I'm definitely hoping for a super stable approach. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll be slowing down to 250 here in a minute, and then 210 shortly after that. Let's go ahead and go back to our checklist. And the altimeters are set for our approach. And then speed brake arm, which we're not going to get because the speed brake doesn't arm in here. It's just automatically arm. Landing gear down and flaps, and that's going to be the last. My dude, where are you getting the metadata at? Greenlight Auto Brokers is asking. And it's also reflected on FlightAware, the same meta. So Dave gave me the heads up the other day. NOAA is you see us bouncing around? Look at that. Look at that. Woo, she's doing a look. She's doing a hard time trying to keep that speed. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and help the aircraft. I'm going to put out the speed brakes. Speed brakes are out so we can help the aircraft slow to 250. Landing lights got to come on as well. .286. I brought those speed brakes back in. Let's see, we're pitching down 1,000 feet per minute. We're still bleeding speed, which is good. And we are direct Milet. And Milet, again, we have to be above 6,000. There we go. So it was just doing its best to slow down. And then we'll slow down to 210. And we'll be on our approach, guys. This thing is looking pretty hairy already. So I really am hoping for a decent landing. Let's get our heading of 78. Just to be on the safe side. I'm just putting this to 1600 for right now, then we'll get it back up to basically 3,000, which that'll be our missed approach altitude once we do that left climbing turn. Landing lights are on, guys. We're getting out of that cloud layer. Remember, at 8,000, so there was some scattered clouds. There they are. And we're getting a little bit of turbulence here, which is to be expected. So we're still doing good. We're about 10 miles over the speed that we want, but that's okay. Once we get to Milet, it'll be a non-issue. Then we'll probably start our slowdown to 210. Let me check you guys out in the chat here. All right. Windy. Two Stone says he's getting his weather information from windy.com. I'm going to have to check that one out too. Let me check that out. Windy. I'm writing that down. .com. Hey, Green Light, how you doing back there? How far are you from your top of descent, brother? I do think we'll have plenty of time to taxi in. We'll check it out. Let me wipe my nose here. I cooled it down in here a little bit with the ceiling fan. It's getting real, guys. You guys can see the coast of Puerto Rico here, which would be the northern coast. Puerto Rico, which also had the Taino Indians and Borinquen, was actually discovered by Columbus. Columbus went back to Europe, to Spain, and as a gift to the conquistadores, he let them know, hey, there's this wonderful land. The conquistadores, obviously, who were hell on wheels back in the day, had plenty of African slaves and other slaves on their boats. They floated all the way over to find this new land based off of the sailing coordinates that Columbus gave them. Once they got there, they started basically going into what people do, intermixing slaves and all that. They started intermixing. At the end of the day, the Borinquen natives, the Taino natives, and the Spaniards, as well as African slaves on there, now make up what's called a Puerto Rico, or Puerto Rican rather. The reason why I say Boricua stems from the natives Borinquen that were on the island. During the Spanish-American War, they fought. The original goal was to liberate and set free Puerto Rico from Spanish rule. However, the United States said, you know what? That's a pretty nice island with some pretty nice beaches. We helped you out, so we're just going to keep you. So that's what happened. So Puerto Ricans have never technically been sovereign from the United States, if you will. You know, U.S. came in and said, hey, you know, Spaniards, shame on you for doing it, but then turned around and kept Puerto Rico as a commonwealth anyway. So there you go, guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the speed over at this point. Let's start slowing our roll. We'll start our initial slow to 230. And of course, I'm going to help it with the speed brakes. Speed brakes are out. San Juan traffic, UPS 318 heavy is at 5,000, descending via the Bino 3 direct Wesson, which is basically a base turn. Expecting ILS 8 full stop, San Juan traffic. Alright guys, you can see the localizer and the glide slope are basically coming on board. We still are above the localizer, but that's to be expected. That's just a warning letting me know that I'm at that speed. Now we're going to get it down to 210. But prior to doing that, if you look at our flap speeds, we can go ahead and get flaps 1 and 5 down. Start getting the aircraft's nose to stay stable. So let's do that now. Speed check, flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 5. FMC message was just the drag required. We knew that. Let's get rid of that message. Alright guys, there we go. Let me make sure I'm still connected to the VATSIM, which I am. Alright, Dave says, gotta run, have a dinner appointment, have a great landing, have a great dinner, buen provecho Dave, or bon appetit. Columbus went the wrong way, not sure why the US has a day for him, but that's just me. I agree with you, Drew. I agree with you. It's more like highway robbery is what it was. All right, guys, here we go. I'm not going to be in the chat anymore until we land. I got to focus right now on the task at hand, which is getting you guys on the ground safely. So until then, it won't be a stereo cockpit, but it'll be stereo as far as the chat's concerned. Now you guys see we're less than 30 degrees. It's okay to go ahead and hit that localizer now. Localizer is captured. And we are bleeding that speed down. I'm going to go to basically 190 on the speed now. And we're going to hit the approach mode. So now with the approach mode, we're also going to capture the glide slope, and I can put this back up to 3,000. Alright, approach mode has been activated. So you can see localizer and glide slope are captured. We got our landing lights on, guys. Here we go. There is the beautiful city of San Juan. Remember, I like to put the gear down. Alright, gear is going to be in the bottom. And as you can see, there's the runway there. Okay, guys, landing gear is coming down. Approach speed. It's going to come into play now, which we said is a robust 160. Now we'll do about 161. Gear doors, landing gear is down, 3 greens. And here we go, guys. It's time to put everything, and we're going full flaps, of course. Full flaps are selected and are on their way down. Guys, guess what? Autopilot's coming off. Auto throttle's off. My controls, my aircraft, my everything, guys. Alright. We're pitching down. Oops. Let's pitch down to catch that glide slope. Keep that speed down.
1,000.
1,000 check. Speed is going to come way down now. Alright. Back up on that nose. Catch that glide slope. Okay, guys, here we go. We got 2 red, 2 green. Or 2 red, 2 white, I mean. 500 cross check. A little bit up on that pitch.
400.
Little bit up on the speed.
300.
All right, don't worry about that. I'm trying to come in nice and low.
Glide slow. Glide slow.
Trying to come in nice and low here, guys, so we can hit this runway. So we can hit the right.
Glide slow.
So we can hit the right runway marks.
Glide
50.
slow.
40. 30. 20.
Retard.
10.
Retard. Woo! Hard landing, guys. What is up with that? That's okay. Hard landing, a realistic one. Yeah, I thought it would be better than that. We were pretty much doing our speeds. Reversers are out. We are definitely bleeding the speed as we should. Auto brake is coming off. So hard landing, guys. Kind of bummed about that, but you know what? It's a realistic landing. And I probably came in a little bit too low, but we still landed her pretty much center line. Alright, standard brake pressure is being applied. But I usually get greater butters in here. That's why I don't even want to jinx myself. Alright, we are going to be exiting the ramp here. After such a hard landing, we just slammed it down on the deck instead of doing a nice smooth nose up. And see what I was trying to do, which actually this kind of probably had to be a hard landing for me. But not really, but it was simply because of the reason that it's such a short runway. So no excuses there for the hard landing. It's realistic, and we're clearing that runway now. Landing lights off, of course. Alright, we're going to make our right. You got to swing out here because these are small taxiways, of course. Still got to get that beacon off, that strobe off. There we go. Strobe is off. Boy, it's terrible multitasking. So guys, hard landing, negative 300 something. Not the smoothest landing. Still a realistic landing, so I ain't tripping on that, guys. We did a lot of work. Last few flights in here I've had great landings, so I guess every now and then you gotta have a hard one. Alright, guys. The flaps and spoilers are coming up. San Juan traffic, UPS 318 Heavy, is clear of runway 8, taxiing to the cargo ramp off of November. We'll be taxiing Sierra November to the cargo ramp for San Juan traffic. Alright guys, so still happy about that landing. It wasn't destroying the landing gear, it was just on the harder side of landing. Alright, what we got here, I believe this is our turn. No, this is not our turn actually. Got to come closer to the terminal there. Alright guys, so welcome it in to Puerto Rico on a hard landing. Not enough flare, that's right Captain Gio, not enough flare, came down too quick. And way Duras, I mean Gio, okay. So yeah, not enough flare in there, so but that's okay guys, you know, every land is not going to be perfect. I still enjoyed it, it's still a realistic landing. We're slowing up to make this turn here. So we're going to make our left turn here. And yeah, you can see it's raining now. Alright, remember you got to swing this thing out to make these turns. This isn't your small little aircraft that you're flying here. So we're going to make these turns. We had a hard landing, and yeah, I probably could have thrown them on speed. Usually I like coming in higher, but what that equates to, the last time I flew a 747 to San Juan, I barely made it. It was a long landing, so I think I was more preoccupied with that. You know, sorry crew for a hard landing, but it's realistic, and you know, chiropractor services will be on UPS, not me. They shouldn't have hired me to fly this thing if they didn't want a hard landing. All right. Juson says, nice one, Dre. Appreciate you guys. So we made it into San Juan, Puerto Rico without crashing, without breaking the landing gear. So we got to take the wins how we can, guys. They got the bandera over here flying, the flag. Alright, let's dial those speeds back here. And green light, I'll be landing on runway 8. Nice landing, he says. Thank you, green light, I appreciate you. And we'll listen for his call-outs and make it happen. Alright, let us slow our speed up here slightly. You don't want to make an approach speed too much here, because this is our cargo ramp that we're going to. Hit the wrong thing. Alright, let's continue that taxi. And of course, we got to get the APU on. And then we're going to watch Drew come in, and then we'll get into a replay and check our landing out, which I still like the landing. I mean, it was still bomb, you know, just a harder landing. Overall, a great flight. All right, please contact me on ground. Do not respond. Okay, we will. There's really no reason to contact him on ground. We're about to park. So we're going to go to this next stand over here, which is Echo 6. Nice and easy. She does it. We should pretty much be center on that line. We don't have any marshalers. All right, let's come over a little bit. Right on the line there, guys. Booyah. Parking brake is set. Alright, we could have got those taxi lights off, but we didn't. You guys are going for shutdown here. And let's go ahead and pull those fuel cutoffs to the off position since we have our APU up and running. You can see the APU was already connected. We can go ahead and get these to the off position. Welcome into San Juan, Puerto Rico, of course. And we can get our beacon off. And make sure everything is off. Let's also get our transponder off. You guys like the little accent? The transponder. Alright, let's look and see if we can log off. No, wait, you are in Orlando or somewhere. So, first of all, Sid Nico Davis, thank you for joining the stream. And we are actually now in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We actually flew from Miami International down to San Juan, Puerto Rico based off of some requests that I got. So let's just look and see what we're doing here. Look, we're right there. She's down, but not out for sure. With this monstrosity of a machine. Thought I'd turn that beacon off. Let's look up top. I saw something flashing in the back. Let's see. Beacon, that's both, so that's off. Position nav is on. We can turn, the wing is off. Oh, strobe is off. We must have turned the right thing off. We must have turned the wrong thing off earlier. That's okay. Logo light, we can get, well, we'll leave the logo light on now. And of course, let us get some jams going on. All right, guys, let me check that VATSIM scope and see where our boy is at. So he's getting close. He is getting close. And green light, just be aware, ground is on. I think they're 1219. Let's see. Ground is 1219, brother. Which I'm pretty sure you already know that, but not much I can do to help this guy out, man. Awesome pilot in his own right, man. Real pilot, that is. So he's not far out. So, you know, let me see if we can get our replays in.
San Juan traffic, Air Caribbean 1877 is crossing Marlin intersection at 6000. We'll be continuing on to Tinder intersection for ILS runway 08. San Juan traffic.
All right, so there he is. I think it's going to be smart of us to wait to do our replays in order to see exactly, make sure that we get him coming in, guys. I really enjoyed the flight, guys. -3 something on the landing, so I'll take that in this bad boy. We're slightly canted, but we didn't have a marshaller. But our nose gear is on the line and our wings are in the safety zone. So you can see this big bad boy made a wonderful journey from Miami. You can see that Puerto Rican flag right here, just flowing away right there. Look at that. That doesn't happen naturally, guys. You have to put in the flags mod, which you can find. Here's American and Puerto Rican flag over here. You got to find this mod on the X-Plane forums. There we go. Beautiful Puerto Rico. This looks like there's a little beach over here. Little beach right there. Again, I believe this is freeware scenery. So he's coming this way and he's going to make his left turn once he gets to Wesson. And then he'll be straight on in, guys. We should be able to see him on the approach here shortly. Let me check you guys out in the chat. Keyshawn Christopher says, nice landing, bro. Thank you, Keyshawn. You know, it was a little bit on the harder side. Realistic, it was -3 something, so I'm cool with that. It wasn't -4, 5, or close to 6. Cool. We did a great job, guys. I appreciate everybody here. Drew Stone says, bring her in, Greenlight Auto Brokers. We're going to see. He is going to bring it in, man. I always enjoy watching him land. Guys, if you're just joining the stream, which is towards the back half of the stream, almost the end of the stream, if you will, we flew our Boeing 747-800 Foxtrot from Miami International all the way over to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Our landing rate wasn't average or great or butter. It was a hard landing, so a little bit harder, but still a realistic landing. There was really no reason.
San Juan traffic. Air Caribbean 1877 is inbound on the ILS runway 8.
All right, so
ILS runway 10. Air Caribbean 1877.
All right, so he is inbound. He made his call out there, and like I said, I still like the landing. It's there's always room for improvement. Could have worked on the flare, like Captain Geo said. So we slammed it down a little bit harder. So basically what happened was we came in like this, and I probably tried to flare it too much, then bam, it hits those back wheels. It makes for a hard landing. I flared too late, so if I would have flared earlier, managed the speed, and just kept flowing, it would have touched down. However, I will take the hard landing, because as you guys can see, we barely made the stop for one of the last two taxiways. So I had to come in nice and low. I should have did a better flare, but I'm glad that we didn't have to go all the way down and do the runway turnaround, if you will. So at this point, we are waiting for my fellow pilot, who was so kind to fly along with us, to get into the San Juan area. We've been streaming now for 3 hours and 29 minutes, guys, so not bad at all for this type of flight. Especially we did some waiting in Miami for our fellow pilot to come up, so we don't have a visual of him yet. But we shortly will, folks. We shortly will. So we're just waiting for Greenlight Auto Brokers to make his final approach into the San Juan area, and we will
San
watch
Juan
him come in.
traffic. Air Caribbean 1877 is on an 8-mile final for runway 10. San Juan traffic.
So he's doing 10. Neko Davis says fly with the Embraer 110. I don't have an Embraer 110, my friend. I have the Embraer ERJ 135, 145, 170, 175, and 195. So I can fly maybe the 135 or the 145. That's probably closer to the size of that aircraft. And Sidneko, do you fly X-Plane or P3D or Microsoft 2020 or FSX? Let me know which one it is and which aircraft you fly. Obviously, I'm assuming you have the Embraer 110. So he's on an 8-mile final for this other runway over here. So he's coming in this way. So we should really see him coming right over this area here in a second. So patience is a virtue, guys. Thanks everyone for joining. You know, Binga, I'm a bad kid, my lovely wife, of course, my kids, Keyshawn, Christopher, Greenlight, obviously, Captain Geo, Dave McKee, Captain Nate checked in with us, Drew Stone 77, obviously, Jeffrey DeGraff said, what's up, Geo? Thanks for joining the stream, guys. If I missed you, I'm totally sorry. We got I'm a Bad Kid in there as well. If I missed your name, I didn't mean to. But thank you all, Signico, Davis, and crew, for joining the stream and staying along the stream. All right, we've got quick visual.
Air Caribbean 1877 is on a short final 3 miles. ILS runway 10. San Juan traffic.
There is our boy flowing in nicely. You can see San Juan is busy with the traffic down there, obviously. There you go. You can see those flaps out. He's coming in nice and low. He's looking for that butter, I can tell. Bam! Nice landing, green light. Awesome landing, green light. There's his touchdown, folks. Saw it right here. He's slowing his roll. Wish they had a smoother camera feature. Let's follow him down. All right, great job, Green Light Auto Brokers. He's definitely slowing down to do his turnoff now. There he goes, Caribbean Airlines. Great job, Green Light. Really enjoyed watching you come in, brother. And, you know, this is just awesome this day and age that we have simulators that can literally mimic real life. It gives us that feeling as if you're really flying with a good friend in real life. So thank you, Flight Sim community. There he is. I'm sure he's going to roll it into the gate now. And, yeah, guys. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful landing, watching Green Light come in his Caribbean Airlines. Now, guys, we're basically going to log off so that we can get our replay and I can finish up the stream here on the Dre Sanchez YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's make sure our transponder was turned off, because otherwise it'll keep it on squawk mode Charlie. Now let me officially log off of VATSIM now that it's not kicking me off. Now we're logged off. Now let's look and see our landing. I gotta let this get out the way.
Minimums.
Alright, guys. Let's go up on the site here and see exactly where we're at. Okay, let's just start it from here. Ooh, it was nice and cloudy. Alright, so at this point, I don't know how far back we went, but we didn't even have our landing gear out. So we'll just get a little profile view of the aircraft, which is I like this view right here, guys. What do you think? Guys, we did a great job today together. We didn't have the best landing, but we had nonetheless a realistic landing. It was on the harder side, but I still loved it. Still always. If you guys see on my last video on this, I buttered this thing into Denver. So we have our butters, we have our averages, whatever. You can't, you absolutely cannot judge everything just based off the touchdown. It was still a real touchdown, so I'm very happy with that landing. You can see this big bad boy. This must have been when we were passing Weston to line up for the ILS. You can see on the leading edge of the wing we had our slats out, which means we had our flaps down as well. Flats are those individual curved elements above the two engines on the front of the leading edge of the wing. That's your slats, and the back is your flaps, and you can see them when you're as a passenger when they come down. So made that nice little turn. You can see she balanced herself out nicely. We had a nice little nose up descent for our pitch. All right. Look at that, guys. Getting ready to pass all those buildings. She's still banking left a little bit. And as you can see, she was rolling right in, getting ready to pass right over those buildings. Let's get another look so we can see those landing gear deploy. Guys, if you already haven't, smash that like button. I really appreciate everybody joining the stream. It's truly been a blast on this wonderful Sunday flight. And yeah, so we'll wait to see those landing gear come out. That'll give us an indication. Actually, we can even go to the other side. So maybe we can catch downtown. Look at the scenery here, guys. That's some pretty good scenery. You know, coming into Puerto Rico. And again, oh, there's that landing gear coming out, guys. Ah, yeah. All right, for the rest of the replay, I don't think you guys need to see my mug. So I'm out of there, guys, so you guys can enjoy the full replay without me involved. There's what she looked like on her nice little descent. Final approach descent into San Juan, Puerto Rico. Pass it right over those cities, man. I swear I love this sim. Look at that. Beautiful scenery, guys. Beautiful scenery. You see, at that point we had 1 red and 3 white. Let's see if we can get a good tower view now. Still a little bit far away from a tower view. You can see also what was cracking. So it looks like now we're on that final descent into San Juan. You can see there we had 2 white and 2 red there. We should be able to get a tower view now. There we go. There she goes, guys, in all her glory on the way in. Drew Stone says, nice one. Dre and Greenlight Auto Brokers. Drew, man, we really appreciate you. Drew's always there to support, man. I can't say enough nice things about Drew Stone, man. It's always a pleasure to have any of you guys on board, of course. So let's see how we can make this landing better next time. So maybe I should have flared up a little bit more, but see, there goes the flare right there, guys. I flared down a little bit. There goes that flare. So it looks smooth, but it's just going to be a hard landing. Look at that. It was just hard landing, but man, that was a great landing. I'm asserting that was a great landing. Almost perfectly center line. And there you go. There goes our speed brakes, or our reversers. Speed brakes aren't being reflected right now, obviously. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. But let's back that up again, guys. Hard landing or not, man, we brought that bad boy in correctly. You know, like I said, I could have floated it a little bit more and picked up more speed, but we didn't do any floaty type stuff on this one. We kept that pitch. You can see right there, the nose came up a little bit. I'm pitching up right there again. See, I'm flaring up a little bit more. I kind of flared down, trying to get that touchdown landing zone, which for once, guys, I got it. And boom, I got the land. So, man, you know what? Hard on the wheels, a little bit more harder, but guess what? Boom. That was a great landing in this bad boy. That truly was a great landing in this bad boy. Let's look at that from the rear. All right. Here it is from the rear shot. You are most welcome. Drew and Greenlight says, thank you, bro, to Drew Stone. Greenlight, man, definitely a pleasure to fly with you, brother. I'll give you a call right after this so we can debrief. So there we go. My whole goal was to hit the touchdown blocks as well, and we did. So, you know, we did what we had to do. Here she comes in, looking official. Greenlight Auto Broker says, yes, sir. Absolutely, guys. Look at this thing coming in. You wouldn't want to be standing on the runway right here, that's for sure. Look at that flare. Ooh-wee. Ah, yeah. Probably could have kept the nose up a little bit longer, but Captain Geo, this is Greenlight's talking to Captain Geo. Load up. I know you got some sleep, so Greenlight's going to fly with Geo. Where you guys flying to? All right. Coming down that runway. And there you guys go. So, let's back it up, of course. And we're going to get into this view. And, yeah, we'll definitely see if we can I don't know, man. We should do the left side. Maybe we'll go to the cargo deck to do our fly-in. We're gonna do a long wing one, of course. And we'll probably just keep it out of the right window. Alright guys, so you know that. We're going back. We're going back so that we can get our wing view on the way in, and it's such a gorgeous view. Just backing it up so we can watch ourselves come in, guys. Alright guys, before I get us all the way to the, actually let's go down to the cargo area. I want us to look out the left side of the window. Remember I told you guys there was this window over here. Not that you would realistically even look at this window. Once we get on approach, we'll switch windows, of course. So right now, we're in that cargo bay window, of course. Alright, there you guys go. We're in the cargo bay window. Let me get myself on, of course. Hey guys, I always want to look you in the eye. Virtually. Tell you guys thank you for supporting me, for joining me on the stream, for riding along here. It's always appreciated. You guys made the flight go super quick. And God bless everyone. Stay safe. Greenlight Auto Brokers, I want to give you a special thanks for flying along with us here on the Dre Sanchez YouTube channel, which you are definitely flying with everybody, and it makes a big difference. Drew Stone, thanks for the metters and all support. Honey, you know, on top of everybody. Sorry guys, I gotta say that, it's my wife. On top of everyone, honey, thank you for bringing in the Pepsi and supporting and the kids and then everybody else. I got to do that just to get my cool points, guys. Nonetheless, everyone is equally important. Thank you guys for joining. I hope to see you guys soon on our next one, and who knows where we're going. I'll keep in mind some of the requests. We had, I think his name is On Bad Kid Raekwon, requested JFK to TBPB at some point, so we'll do that. Again, right now, this is the view out of the cargo window in the cargo bay, which nobody would really be here, but I don't feel like getting another setup for the left side. So we're going to switch up once we get past some of the downtown buildings, and we'll finish up the flight on the right side. I believe it's a great landing, guys. We basically hit the touchdown marks. We didn't overshoot our planned taxiway. We taxied in. We did everything great. I'll definitely hope to see you guys on the next flight. Deuces wild. Happy Sunday. God bless.
just take a ride along the bay. We don't need to work, we can sit around and play. I've been waiting for so long to get away. Baby, don't hold back, all you gotta do is say, oh, would you like to be satisfied with me? I've been counting moments, I've been catching signs from all I wanna do is satisfy you. Baby, all you want is to be satisfied with me. Baby, drink champagne on the beach of Malibu, cruising down the boulevard, kissing in the backseat of the car.